So how's it going? I'm actually dying. So how's it going, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel enthusiasts, and welcome to a video I've been wanting to put together for quite a while. Today, I'm going to try and teach you how to play Fallout 2 in the most casual way possible. Usually when I watch guide videos, they're always so concerned about doing the best build and playing the most effectively and doing this in certain ways and everything else, and it can be a little intimidating. So I just want to bring it down to earth a little bit. We just want to enjoy and play some video games, and if you're into the later Fallout games and you're curious about the older ones, why not take a look back and try and play some of my favourite Fallout games of the whole franchise. So specifically today we're going to be starting with Fallout 2 for a number of reasons. Most importantly, Fallout 2 is one of my favourites. I think it's a phenomenal game to get into. Some of its mechanics and presentation style might be a little bit dated by modern standards, but it's still a great game to go back and play. Who gives a shit about modern standards? I just want to play a good Fallout game, you know what I mean? I'll play Fallout New Vegas any day of the week and it controls like shite. Or we push up. Also, the other reason I want to cover Fallout 2 today is because while I absolutely adore this game and I love it so much, there's one thing I sadly have to admit about it. The introduction is terrible. It's really bad. It's probably the biggest thing holding off people from actually trying this game. And once you get past the introduction and the game becomes a little bit more open, I think it becomes particularly fun and a decent little Fallout game to get into. So do you want to just get started on learning the mechanics of Fallout 2, how to get through that pesky introduction, setting you up for a decent-ish build that I usually use to get yourself going, and then playing long enough in the game to get our first proper weapon. Does that sound good? I hope that sounds fantastic. So that's why we're starting with Fallout 2. If you want me to do this for Fallout 1, let me know. Hell, if you want me to do this for other games such as Daggerfall or Morrowind or any other old school game that you think would be cool for this kind of video style, then please let me know down below. Now we're gonna get into the game. I hope you're ready. Don't worry, don't take notes or play the game along with me or anything like that. You don't have to, you can if you want, but we're just gonna take things casually. I'm gonna get you started and we're gonna start playing Fallout 2. I'll see you in the video. Which is right now. What do you mean, see in the video? Get into it, Mickey. Shut up. You langer. I'm so mean to myself. Someone has to. My comments are too nice. You pricks. Get me! I just live in the dream house. So as the game opens up, you get a bit of backstory. Do watch the intro title cards because there is a nice little introduction movie that'll get you settled into the world of Fallout and everything else. You might be familiar with it, you might not, but it's good to get yourself into the story of this game because it is a very, very interesting one indeed. Now, a small few things to go over before we get into the actual tutorial. If you're installing the game on Steam and GOG, they should be patched to have higher resolutions and better support for modern monitors and all that kind of stuff. So actually, if you go into the options and screen settings, you should actually have all this support for higher resolutions and all that kind of stuff, which on Steam and GOG you should. You can go all the way up to 4K if you want. Now for the sake of this video, I'm going to be playing the game on 2x scaling, which means if you're watching this on a mobile or a smaller monitor or even like a TV, it might be a little more compact just so it's easier to see what I'm doing and what I'm showing you. You can also click on this to change the style of the little bar you get when you're playing the game. I do like the belt. There's mods out there if you're running from a CD to give yourself better screen resolutions and things like that. They're pretty easy installs. So anyway, there's actually a few other small things we're going to get into before we start into a new game. Just a few small little settings here, don't worry too much about it. Now you have things like game difficulty. For the sake of this video, we're going to play on normal. We have combat difficulty, we're going to play on normal too. Violence level, you can have maximum blood. This game can get a little bit violent, you know, if you're a mother who's scared of Satanism back in the 90s, you know, that kind of thing. So there are some pretty gruesome takedowns, but otherwise the game's okay. We're not worried about too much of these. You can have a language filter off if you don't like hearing the word fuck, you beautiful little pretty. One setting we are going to change. If you're running this game for the first time, running is likely going to be on normal. You want to change running to always, so that your character is always running. There's no real reason to be walking. You know, it's a nice symmetric game. You don't need to be taking your time. It's mostly about what you're seeing on the screen. Just have always running on. It'll make you move around a lot quicker, a lot speedier. It's handy to have subtitles. That's up to you as always. Now combat speed 2 I believe will be on normal, but you want to put this all the way up to fastest just to make combats as quick as can be. Don't worry too much. When it comes to your turn in combat, you'll have the time to think of your next actions and things like that. There's not too much of a downside to having combat speed at the fastest. It just makes the other enemies' turns a little bit quicker, so you're not sitting there all day watching them shoot someone 5 times and miss. You know what I mean? It just makes that a little bit quicker. So don't worry, it's not going to speed up gameplay so much that you're not going to be knowing what you're doing. That's really all we need to change here. If you need to change your mouse sensitivity, there's always that. There's brightness and stuff too, because this game could be a little bit dark sometimes, but you know. Anyway, let's get in to Fallout 2. Now, when you're starting, you are actually given a few pre-made characters here. I don't think they're as iconic as the pre-made characters from Fallout 1. I mean, look at this handsome devil. He could never live up to him. They look interesting. They were definitely getting used to like the 3D modeling rendering in Fallout, weren't they? Here's the thing about these characters. They're kind of made so you can like start up the game pretty quickly and just get into it and things like that. But I don't particularly like the stats they give. I would always recommend you create your own custom character when you're starting off Fallout. Whether it's Fallout 1 or Fallout 2, you should definitely have more control over the character you're creating. I mean, this guy is 10 agility, which is honestly pretty good. This one's not too bad. His endurance is kind of low, but you know, it's not bad. And you get some backstory if you want that with your characters. And she has sex appeal because she's a woman. It's very great. So anyway, we're going to create a character, and this might be a little bit of an intimidating screen, but don't worry, we're going to go through everything as smooth as I possibly can. Also, if you're proficient in Fallout 1 and 2 and you want to give some tips that maybe I didn't go over in this video, or you want to expand on some of the topics, please leave comments down below. You know, it helps out. So obviously, yeah, your name is None. We'll just call yourself Micky for the Mickey of us. You can set your age and what's the lowest age you can go down? Is it like 16 is the lowest? You could be a 16-year-old if you want. I remember when I used to play these games, I used to be around my age and I used to be like, oh, I'm 17 now. But now I realize as I've gotten older, I have to really start clicking through the numbers to get to my age. How old am I? I'm about... Let's keep going. You can only go up to 35. I'm not older than 35, I was only joking, but fucking okay. Let's stay at a default 25. There you go. If you're 25 years old while watching this, well done on being at default age. Male and female, as far as I know, being a male or female doesn't actually affect your stats, which is interesting because in games like Morrowind, I believe it does, yeah. But being a male and a female will affect things like dialogue options, how characters react to you. I believe it also affects a couple of perks here and there. If you're familiar with later Fallout games, you probably know how perks are going to affect your gender. For the sake of today's video, we're going to be a male called Micky. Very creative for me, I know. Now, the nice thing about this character creator screen in Fallout is that most of it is explained to you if you click on whatever you want. So we have like our special stats over here. Special because strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck spells special. It's very creative. And we get 5 character points to distribute. It even tells you about like eye damage and crippled right and left arms and everything else. I imagine this has to do with your traits. Things like hit points, pretty self-explanatory. How much damage your character can take before dying. Oh, the poor little baby. I love the Vault Boy illustrations in these older Fallout games. I think they're very creative and they have that old charm to them. If you reach 0 HP or less, you are dead. You can actually hit less than 0 HP if you get particularly damaged a ton. So for hovering over things like armor class, obviously modifies the chance to hit this particular character. The higher your armor class, the better, as you can imagine in these cases. So action points, the number of actions that the character can take during one combat turn. To fire a bullet, it will cost a certain amount of action points. Depending on how far you move in combat dictates how much action points that will use. Going into your inventory takes up action points, all that kind of thing. Typically, we're going to be building a character to give you the maximum amount of agility points starting off, because I think having max agility is pretty important and pretty good for this game. I wouldn't suggest putting less points into agility unless you know what you're doing and you've played this game a few times and you feel like you can get away with putting less points into agility and more into the other stats. But for beginners and starting off, I would suggest putting a decent amount of points into agility. We do need to have 10 agility to get up to 10 action points, and that doesn't leave us much room to put anything else into our other stats, but we'll worry about that in a minute. We'll put everything back down to normal for the time being. Carry weight's pretty self-explanatory, especially if you play like modern Bethesda games and everything else. Carry weight's how much you can carry, things like that. If you're over encumbered, I believe you can still walk around while over encumbered, but you can't like run, or I don't think you can fast travel and things like that, so something to be aware of. Your melee damage, pretty self-explanatory. How much damage you do in melee combats, hand-to-hand and all that. There's damage resistances. The better armor you wear, the higher damage resistance you have. So stuff like leather will be the smallest amount when you're starting off, and then you have combat armor, which is like your medium armor sets, and that gives you decent damage resistance. And the max damage resistance, as you would imagine with Fallout games, comes from equipping your power armor. So there's this. Poison resistances, pretty self-explanatory. Radiation resistance, because it's a Fallout game, there's going to be radiation everywhere. You're not going to be encountering radiation extremely often in this game. Every now and again, there's actually some areas pretty early in the game where you'll encounter radiation, but there are items like Radaway and things like that to offset radiation damage and stuff, so bear that in mind. Now, sequence is an interesting one because it determines how soon in a combat turn your character can react. The higher your sequence, pretty much the earlier you can take your turn in combat. It's a handy little stat to keep in mind. I never really think about it too much when I'm actually building a Fallout character, but it is a pretty nice one to have, and there's stuff like perks later on down the line that increase sequence. Healing rate is pretty much when you're resting, how much of your health increases. This was probably a little bit more important in Fallout 1 when you actually had some time limits. In Fallout 2, you technically do have a time limit, but the time limit is so long that you can beat the game like 4 or 5 times and do every side quest before you'd actually reach that time limit. So do not worry about a time limit in Fallout 2. There technically is one. It's only when the game's like clock ticks over a certain amount and the game can't really continue on because the maths just kind of screws up and everything else. But again, you're going to be able to beat the game multiple times in that time limit. It's a very rare time limit to reach naturally. I would say it's actually extremely rare. So don't worry about it. Critical chance, pretty self-explanatory. The chance to cause a critical hit in combat is increased by this amount, and increasing things like your luck will increase your critical chance, and we'll go over these one by one. So strength is your physical strength, things like hitting hard and carrying a lot of stuff, and in these early Fallout games it actually contributes a bit to your hit points. Strength is 1 hit point each. I believe endurance is the highest. Yeah, endurance also puts up your hit points, and it puts it up by the most, so if you want the most hit points when you're starting off, definitely consider endurance. Strength does it a little bit, but strength you mainly want for melee damage and carry weights, and I believe melee damage also falls under unarmed and melee weapons as far as I know, right? So yes, it does contribute to that, so having a decent bit of strength, especially for Fallout 2's introduction, will be exceptionally useful, as you will see. Perception is also a pretty useful stat in Fallout, the ability to see, hear, taste and notice unusual things. A high perception is important for a sharpshooter, modifies sequence and ranged combat distance modifiers. So the higher your perception, the more chance you'll actually have to hit enemies that are farther away. Obviously, if an enemy is farther away, you'll have less of a chance to hit them accurately, but the higher your perception, the more this chance increases. And that chance also increases if you're putting up skills into the weapons you want to use, like small guns. You increase that, you'll also increase your chance to hit enemies farther away. It just increases your hit chance altogether, so it's a pretty handy thing to keep in mind. Endurance, stamina and physical toughness. A character with a high endurance will survive where others may not. Modifies hit points, poison and radiation resistance, healing race, and the additional hit points per level. As we've stated before, endurance is pretty good for getting your hit points up. It is the best one to use for that. It also increases your poison and radiation resistance and healing rate when you're resting. It's a pretty handy one to have. I don't think it's like the most vital, but I wouldn't particularly suggest putting it very low, as you can imagine. Now, charisma. If you're actually more used to modern Fallout games, you might think of charisma as pretty feckin' useless. But in the early Fallout games, charisma is actually not a bad stat to have. Again, it's not the most important, and it's probably gonna still be the lowest stat you will have, but it is actually worth your time having a little bit of charisma, and the main reason why you want charisma is because the higher your charisma skill, the more companions you can actually have with you. If you have very low charisma, you actually can't take as many companions with you. And things like if your charisma drops lower, companions might actually leave your party, I'm pretty sure. Now, if your charisma is low when you're starting off the game, there's ways to increase this. There's encounters in the game where you can increase your charisma later on. There's also perks you can take on more companions and things like that, so you can offset it. But charisma, I would actually say, kind of important in the early Fallout games if you want to have a lot of companions with you. And companions are pretty important in these games. I would say they're almost vital. They give you such an edge in combat. They are exceptionally useful to have. It's a turn-based game. It's good to have companions with you. They'll help out taking down more enemies and things like that. They'll increase your chances in combat, so they're very useful to have around. And also, charisma is a combination of appearance and charm. High charisma is important for characters that want to influence people with words, modifies NPC reactions and bear surprises. Game screen does actually mention party members here, which is interesting. If your charisma is 1, I believe you're still able to take like 1 party member, so it's not the biggest deal, but if you want more, it's just something you need to keep in mind. You'll need a higher charisma skill. It also influences things like bartering, NPC reactions, your speech skill, your ability to persuade and intimidate in certain situations. So Not completely useless, like modern Fallout games like Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and all that kind of stuff. In Fallout 4, it has some uses for perks and things like that, but ultimately in New Vegas, it's not really that worse. Intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, and the ability to think quickly. A high intelligence is important for any character. Modifies the number of new skill points per level, dialogue options, and many skills. Here's the funny thing about classic Fallout, which you might be aware of if you ever see memes and things about these games. If you put your intelligence to 1, if you put your intelligence to very low, your character will mentally be stupid. And what I mean by that is that in dialogue options, your character will just be an ignoramus. Absolute ignoramus. It affects your dialogue options. Most characters won't even want to talk to you or interact with you just because your intelligence is so low. I've never actually done a low intelligence playthrough in Fallout, but I've seen the memes, I've seen the videos. You won't be able to effectively talk with characters because you're just so stupid. That's how much intelligence actually affects you in this game, so try not to have your intelligence too low. I believe that only happens if you have your intelligence at 1. If it's 2 and stuff like that, it might not be that bad, but be aware of that. I wouldn't recommend having your intelligence low anyway, because having skill points to increase during a level up is important. You know, if your intelligence is extremely low, you're not going to be able to effectively talk to NPCs. Definitely keep low intelligence runs for future playthroughs of this game if that's something you want to do in the future. Definitely not for a beginner run. I would not recommend it. Agility! Like we've gone over before, it affects your action points, and you will see how much action points play a critical role in combat when we get into the main game in a moment. I say in a moment. There's a little bit to Fallout's character creation. I apologize, but, you know. Coordination and the ability to move well. A high agility is important for any active character, modifies action points, armor class, sequence, and many skills. So, agility influences many skills. It is pretty useful to have. Did I go over actually for intelligence? Yeah, my apologies. I'm probably going through this kind of quick. Just to quickly go over it with intelligence before we move on to agility, it does actually affect dialogue options. It affects skill points when you're leveling up. You want a decent amount of skill points when you're leveling up, because it affects what you could put into like these skills here: small guns, big guns, energy weapons, lockpick, trap, science, repair. Having a high intelligence means you can put more into these skills. If you played Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, you know what your skill points that go from 1 to 100, this is pretty much the same thing, but you can actually put your skills over 100 to increase their effectiveness, but we won't worry about that too much for the moment, but that is something you can do. More intelligence, more points to put into this. Typically think of it as like 0 to 100%, and 100% is being obviously pretty effective in your skill. 0 means you're not as effective. Agility. Now we can get to agility. So yes, it does affect your action points. Very important. Affects your armor class, your sequence, and many skills. So if your agility is high, your sequence is pretty high. I usually always have my agility pretty high in my playthroughs. Luck is kind of a difficult thing to explain with these older like Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games. It pretty much has an effect on everything you do. Fate, karma, an extremely high or low luck will affect the character somehow. Events and situations will be changed by how lucky or unlucky your character is. So if you're unlucky, it's going to affect things like your gambling chance and stuff happening to you in combat, such as maybe like you drop your gun during combat and you have to use action points to pick up your gun and go into your inventory and equip it again. You can also critically miss so bad you can lose the rest of the ammo in your gun's clip. So if your character is very unlucky, things are going to happen in combat that aren't going to help your chances to win. So again, luck is one of those things I like to keep generally pretty level. We're kind of going to be making a sort of all-rounder build for today that I like going for in these classic Fallout games. But one build I do particularly like is a high luck build for snipers, because my god, high luck, higher critical chance, ooh, it's very good for snipers. You get some very good snipers in this game that do a lot of damage, and having a high luck, ooh, it's very effective. So, we've gotten through our special stats. We won't put points into those just yet because we have a few other smaller things to go over. We have optional traits. If you played games like Fallout New Vegas, and I believe there's also traits in The Outer Worlds, believe it or not, also by Obsidian, you might be familiar with traits in Fallout, and if you aren't, oftentimes traits in these games have a positive and a negative to it. So it's pretty much going to depend on your playstyle and your build if you're going to be going with any of these traits. There are some specific traits I would recommend for your first playthrough, but generally it's kind of up to you and your playstyle how you want to take these traits. So if we look at things like fast metabolism, your metabolic state is twice normal. This means that you're much less resistant to radiation and poison, but your body heals faster. So radiation and poison damage affects you quite a bit, but you heal faster. there's the positive and negative. I don't think this one is too useful. Again, you don't encounter radiation or even poison all that often. Well, poison a bit, some creatures can poison you, but radiation, it's not as rare. And healing faster, it's only really when you're resting, you're not going to be healing during combat or anything like that. Not the most useful. Bruiser, a little slower, but a little bigger. You may not hit as often, but they will feel it. When you do, your total action points are lowered, but your strength is increased. This decreases your action points, but you have higher strength for things like melee. So if you're a melee character, that might be useful, but it does affect your agility points. I wouldn't really recommend this one. Small frame, you're not quite as big as the other villagers, but that never slowed you down. You can't carry as much, but you are more agile. So this is going to affect your carry weight, but it does increase your agility. So you can actually take this if you do want an increase to your agility when you're starting off getting more skills and that, but it does decrease your carry weight by 50. 100 carry weight isn't all that much, I'll be honest. It's not a lot. I wouldn't exactly recommend this one. If you don't really care too much about carry weight and you want to take the carry weight hit to put one more point into your agility, why not? Go for it. Do whatever you want, champ. One-hander, one of your hands is very dominant. You excel with single-handed weapons, but two-handed weapons cause a problem. Again, I don't need to go over these too much, you know what I mean. You want to be better with one-handed weapons, but two-handeds give you a bit of a weakness, obviously. Finesse, your attacks show a lot of finesse. You don't do as much damage, but you cause more critical hits. Again, if you're going for like a high luck character, this might actually be pretty useful to go for, but generally if you're playing like an all-rounder character like I usually do, it's not the most useful. You kind of want your damage to do quite a bit. We're not going to be depending too much on critical hits, I imagine. Kamikaze, by not paying attention to any threats, you can act a lot faster in a turn. This lowers your armor class to just what you are wearing, but you sequence much faster in the combat turn, so this actually makes it so that you get quicker turns in combat, but it does affect your armor class. It removes all the benefits of armor class from agility, which kind of stinks, but you do get a bit of an earlier sequence, and you just look like Wolverine. Heavy-handed, you swing harder, not better. Your attacks are very brutal, but you lack finesse. You rarely cause a critical, but you always do more melee damage. This actually isn't a bad one. I actually kind of do like this one. You don't do critical hits as much. But again, in these games, I don't often go with melee characters. You can absolutely do melee builds. They're very viable in these games. So melee builds aren't even something I would advise against. You can get some pretty powerful melee weapons down the line. You don't have time to aim for a targeted attack because you attack faster than normal people. It costs you one less action point for guns and thrown weapons. So fast shot actually takes away your ability to target aim, which is going into VATS in this game and specifically choosing body parts of enemies, but the positive is that it's one less action point for guns and thrown weapons. Not a bad positive at all. I'd say this is a very good trait for like the early game, but in the late game when enemies have like powerful armor and the only way you can get criticals is really hitting them in the eyes, and with targeted shots and stuff like that, you are losing that ability. So it's probably fine for the early game. Later in the game you're probably going to have issues, so again, up to you if you want to take it. By some strange twist of fate, people around you die violently. You always see the worst way a person can die, so you might recognize this perk from later Fallout games. It's a very popular one, Bloody Meds. In later Fallout games, you do like 5% more damage generally. I think later perks in Fallout 4 makes it do even more damage. As far as I know in Fallout 1 and 2, it doesn't have any damage increase, but it does give you the worst ways people can die. It can be pretty brutal in some death animations. So there's actually no negative to this one, as far as I know. It just changes how NPCs can die. So yeah, you're always going to see the most brutal way somebody can go down. I might actually avoid this one for the moment just because of YouTube censors. YouTube's very particular about violent content. Don't shoot the messenger, you know. Sadly, I just can't show these things as much as I would want to. It does affect my revenue and bottom line, so I apologize if that's disappointing. But sure, look, what can I do? Don't blame me. Blame YouTube. Jinxed! The good thing is that everyone around you has more critical failures in combat. The bad thing is, so do you. Yeah, this one's a bit of a catch-22. Your enemies will have more critical failures in combat, such as missing their turns or dropping their weapons and things of that nature, but also it increases your chance just as much. So I don't really see much point in taking this one, but if you want your enemies to mess up more, go first, but you're going to mess up more too. Good-natured, you study less combative skills as you were growing up. Your combat skills start at a lower level, but first aid, speech, doctor, and barter are substantially improved. I would not recommend a trait like this unless you're pretty skilled with the game. Lowering your combat skills for the introduction of this game is actually pretty bad. It can make it so that you're probably going to die a good couple of times in the game's introduction. So I wouldn't recommend this one unless you're skilled with the game. It's not even that great in the grand scheme of things. First aid, doctor, speech, barter, they're not really that worth investing in, I'll be honest. Speech a bit, definitely. First aid can actually be a benefit. Say if you're poisoned, you won't be able to fast travel because the poison will kill you. If you use first aid, you'll get some of your hit points back and you might be able to heal fully before the poison goes away, so that's one use of first aid to keep in mind. Doctor, they're good for like fixing your crippled limbs, but your limbs barely get crippled in this game. It barely happens to me. Barter, you get money very quickly in this game. Barter, you don't really need to worry about it. It's like barter in other Fallout games. Do you really need it? You get powerful gear later on, so... Chem reliance, you are more easily influenced by chems. Your chance to be reliant by chem use is twice normal, but you recover faster from their ill effects. Yeah, you get more addicted to chems, but you recover faster from the bad side effects of it. If you're into like taking chemical stimulants and stuff like that in Fallout games, go for it. Chem resistant, chems only affect you half as long as normal, but your chance to be reliant is also 50% of normal, so you get better chance of resisting it, but they're not as effective. Sexy appeal, you've got the right stuff. Members of the opposite sex are attracted to you, but those of the same sex tend to become quite jealous. Yeah, so if you're a male, you're gonna get more female attention. It'll be easier to persuade them in certain situations. Women want me, men want to be me, that kind of thing, and vice versa if you're a woman. Even though this game comes from the 90s, comes from an older time, Fallout 2 is pretty inclusive when it comes to LGBT. I say that it still has some dated terms. It still has things like negative language about transgenderism. It has some dated elements to it, but overall, you can have gay marriages in this game. If you're a woman, you can sleep with other women. If you're a man, you can sleep with other men. It's at a point where like society was getting there. You know, there's still definitely some dated aspects, but overall, it's pretty gay positive. But there are some downsides to it. It's like the traits, you know what I mean? Skilled. Since you spent more time improving your skills than a normal person, you gave 5 additional skill points per experience level. Trade-off is that you don't gain as many extra abilities. You gain a perk every 4 levels. So you gain more skill points per level, but you don't gain perks as much. Again, it's up to you if you want more skill points to put into your level. And it's not a terrible one to go for, but if you want to go for perks, you get one every 4 levels. Normally, you get perks every 3 levels in Fallout, so you're going to be making perks even that more rare. You're not getting a lot of perks if you're waiting every 4 levels. Like, you're not going to be getting to like ridiculously high levels. So if you're picking this skill, you're probably only getting like a handful of perks per playthrough. And there are some pretty handy ones, so again, I wouldn't recommend it too much, but it's up to you. Now, gifted. Gifted is a very interesting little trait. You have more innate abilities than most, so you have not spent as much time honing your skills. Your primary statistics, being your special skill, are each increased by 1, but you lose 10% on all skills to start and receive 5 less skill points per level. Gifted is a very, very interesting trait in Fallout. Some people would actually state that this trait is a little overpowered, and it actually kind of is. So, as it stated, if I click on Gifted right now, we get +1 to all of our special attributes, which is a pretty good +1. If we're looking at like our statistics here, like armor class is going up, action points, carry weight, our resistances, our sequence is going up, our healing rate is going up, and our critical chance is going up. But if we're looking at our skills over here, they are being lowered. But here's the deal. The trade-off of getting your special points increased is actually pretty good. It is pretty good. And we still have the 5 points to put into our special stats. And we can like lower charisma a little bit more. And we have 7 points to distribute. And 4 charisma is not bad. It's pretty overpowered. But the problem is it's putting down these stats by quite a bit. Like speech is 10, repair is now at 8, science is at 14. Gambling, why is gambling at you don't need gambling much. Melee weapons and unarmed is still pretty high because we have high strength and things like that. I would actually recommend gifted when you're first starting off, but if you're anxious about it and you don't really want your skills being affected that much, you don't have to go for it. But most of the skills it's affecting aren't the biggest deal in the world, and we'll go over that in a moment. We'll keep all this level for the moment. I believe for this playthrough I might actually pick gifted just to give us a bit of a stat increase as we're playing. But again, I'll leave it up to you if you want to take it, but it is a bit of a benefit, but it is affecting your skills, so just be aware. So, we have skills. If you played Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, you'll be used to these. If you've played Fallout 4, you won't be used to these because the game doesn't really have those anymore. This video isn't going to be about which Fallout game is better. I don't really care about those arguments for the moment. We're just going to be focusing on Fallout 2 and what's different between this game and the future ones. So don't worry, it's not going to be a big critique on future Fallout games or whatever. You're not going to get that here. Small guns, pretty self-explanatory. Your use and care of smaller firearms like pistols, SMGs, and rifles. Your big guns will be things like rocket launchers, miniguns, flamethrowers, big weapons, as you can imagine. Then energy weapons have your own little section. So, you know, weapons that fire laser and plasma. So it doesn't matter if they're small or big, this is encompassing all energy weapons. And the handy thing too is we're actually being told the mathematical formula for this, which is pretty fucking cool. Morrowind didn't give us these stats, I had to figure it out with the UESP. The handy thing about these early Fallout games, they tell you all about, so there's the nerdy math stats for all of those that are interested in that sort of thing. Unarmored is pugilism. Hand-to-hand combat. I made a sound with my hand. If you want to be effective with hand-to-hand combat, unarmed is the one you want to go for. Melee weapons, pretty self-explanatory too. Your ability to use melee weapons such as knives, sledgehammers, spears, and clubs. The thing too about unarmored is there's actually some unarmed weapons you can use, like brass knuckles. I believe power gloves count for unarmed. Throwing is things like grenades. I don't really use grenades, knives, and spears all that often in these games, but plasma grenades and things like that later down the line, and EMP grenades for robots are actually pretty useful, so if that's a skill you want to invest in, there it is. First aid, general healing skill, used to heal small cuts, abrasions, and other minor ills. In game terms, the use of first aid can heal more hit points over time than just rest, so it's tied into your perception and intelligence. I don't find these skills super useful. Doctor can be useful for healing crippled limbs if that happens. There are books, I believe, that increase your first aid, but none for the doctor skill, so if you're noticing your limbs are being crippled pretty often, it might not be a bad skill to invest in. Again, I barely ever notice limbs being crippled in this game. I don't notice it often, but if your arms are crippled and things of that nature, you won't be able to aim your weapons as effectively. It is quite debilitating, so it's there, it's a mechanic. Sneak, quiet movement and the ability to remain unnoticed. If successful, you'll be much harder to locate. You cannot run and sneak at the same time. Sneak is an interesting little mechanic in these games. Sneak can be pretty handy to get to jump on enemies, so you can like walk up to enemies and not use your action points when you're detected or in combat mode. You can pretty much sneak up to them and hit them very much up close and keep a lot of your action points to have successful sneakish attacks, but you're not getting any special bonuses for sneak, so keep that in mind. There's also the steal skill. Sneak is essentially, you know, your ability to be detected, and steal is pretty much your ability to steal items. There are some quests and situations where pickpocketing items is actually quite useful later on down the line, so it might be something to consider if you have some spare skill points you don't know where to put them. Lockpick, the skill of opening locks without the proper key. The use of lockpicks or electronic locks will greatly enhance this skill. Now, if you're used to later Fallout games, lockpicks are a finite item. You only have so many lockpicks, and if you run out of lockpicks, you can't pick the lock. In early Fallout games, you essentially don't need tools, but you can get lockpicks and electronic lockpicks to help out your ability to pick a lock. It increases the chance to open it. If your skill is too low, you won't be able to open too many locks. And also something else to be aware of is if you keep trying to open the same lock and failing, you increase the chance of the lock actually breaking. So definitely make saves before you pick locks. Or if you're really into your old D&D mechanics, be aware if you break the lock, you can't get your items. So maybe don't reload a save and just play with your actions the way they are, because that's true proper D&D rules. Not reloading the game every time you don't get the outcome you want. Traps. I have never ever put any points into traps ever. The finding and removal of traps, also setting of explosives for demolition purposes. If you want to like set traps and things of that nature, having a high trap skill is useful. You won't be able to like effectively set timers in bombs and things like that if your trap skill is too low. Your ability to detect traps increases, but it's not something to be too wary of. Like if you walk into a military base, I guess you can scan around for traps and things of that nature, but I just kind of wander around. My character probably blows up or something, or a trap hits them and it doesn't do that much damage, and I go on with my day. I've never put points into traps. I don't think it's a particularly useful skill to put points into, but I believe you can still pickpocket bombs onto enemies in this game. Like if you pickpocket a bomb and set a timer on it, I think that's something you can still do. I believe. Maybe. The science skill covers a variety of high technology skills such as computers, biology, physics, and geology. Science is usually used for things like computer terminals throughout the world. If you need to like hack a computer terminal or use one, you need to use like an interface or something like that. Or if you need to deduce what a computer is saying, having a high science skill is useful for those applications. If you're like fixing robots, or I believe it also affects some dialogue options. But yeah, if you want to effectively use computer terminals and stuff like that, a bit of a high science is useful. It's more useful the later you get into the game, when you start going to like high technology facilities. So later in the game, definitely invest in that. But for the moment, it's not too important at the beginning. But it's useful for quests that need you to use computer terminals and that sort of thing. Repair skill, the practical application of the science skill for fixing broken equipment, machinery, and electronics. It's kind of like science and it does help with electronics too, so it's your ability to repair things throughout the world. Like in the beginning of Fallout 2, there is Arroyo, the village you're in, which you'll see in a moment, and if you have a high repair skill, you can actually fix one of the wells in Arroyo. You get a bit of experience. It depends on what you're doing and your encounters in the world, but having a high repair means you can repair things throughout the world. It's useful for quests and things of that nature. But there are also skill books in Fallout, which can increase things like science and repair and first aid down the line. So, and also they have like books for unarmed. So again, you don't have to worry about these too much for the beginning of the game, and later in the game you'll be able to buy skill books to increase these stats specifically, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Speech, the ability to communicate in a practical and efficient manner, the skill of convincing others that your position is correct, the ability to lie and not get caught. Speech is good for convincing others. It's a pretty useful skill in Fallout used during dialogue options, your ability to convince someone and also to get the outcome you want. I actually would recommend speech. It has some very useful applications in this game. It's separate from barter, so it's not going to affect your bartering prices, but it will affect specific dialogue options. So definitely a handy one if you're familiar with speech in modern Fallout games. It's less like Fallout New Vegas and more like Fallout 3, where I believe it's more of like a random chance thing, but the higher your speech skill is, the better you have of that chance winning out. Although I believe there are some dialogue options where you need a specific high speech to do it, but you can still fail it, so having a high speech chance is useful for that, I believe. Barter, I wouldn't worry too much about this one. Again, you can get some pretty powerful items later on in Fallout 2. I've never had money being much of an issue in this game. In the early game, if that's something you're concerned with, maybe, but I wouldn't recommend it too much. Gambling, I've never put any skills into gambling. I've barely ever gambled in Fallout 2. There are casinos, there are towns that do have gambling, but I've never invested skills into this. It's like Fallout New Vegas. If you want to gamble and get some extra money, sure, but it's very easy to get money in these games. Again, if you want to roleplay, you want to get money from gambling, go for it, be my guest. It ties in with luck, it'll increase your chances. But yeah, outdoorsman, practical knowledge of the outdoors and the ability to live off the land, the knowledge of plants and animals. Outdoorsman actually affects the encounters you can get when you're traveling the world map. You can sometimes encounter things like raiders and rat scorpions and tribals and loads of things that want to kill you. If your outdoorsman skill is particularly high, you get a higher chance of finding interesting encounters that can lead to some cool items or cool little funny scenarios. And also if your outdoorsman skill is high enough, you can actually choose if you want to encounter raiders or rat scorpions. Say you actually want to fight them, you can actually press yes or no if you want to go in to combat and do that encounter. Or you can press no and just avoid enemy encounters if you just want to continue traveling and do your task. So it's actually not a bad skill. Again, I don't worry about it too much starting off, but there are skill books I believe that increase your outdoorsman skill. So later down the line, it's not a bad one to invest in. If you're like going through the overworld and too many enemies are annoying you, you can put that up and you can actually cancel out their encounters. So that's pretty handy. Folks, my god, that was a lot of talking. I'm sorry. This video is a beginner's guide, I hope. Again, I know enough about this game to get by. We're going to start building our character in a moment. I hope this is okay so far. I hope my explanation is alright. I haven't done this kind of thing before, so definitely a bit of feedback. I won't be adverse to. But let's start building our character. Let's actually start getting into the game. Now, here's what I think I want to do. I think I want to pick Gifted, so we get more special stats. Again, if you're too worried about this, you don't particularly have to pick Gifted, but I recommend this. You do get some good boost to your stats. We have like 33 hit points already. We got boost to our armor class. Action points is almost 10 already. So if I put up some of my agility, we still need to put our agility up to 10 to get action points. Now, I always put my agility up to 10. I think in the early game, if it's your first playthrough, agility at 10, I would absolutely recommend it. Charisma, believe it or not, I've said it's kind of important, but not too important for right now. I'm going to put it down to 4 to give us a little bit more points. I want to put up points in our strength, put up our unarmored and unarmored skill, because we have taken a bit of a hit from taking Gifted to our unarmed and melee weapon skill. They're not the highest. Perception will put up a little bit, increases our chances to hit with weapons and things like that. Also increases the few skills it is associated with. You'll see like lockpicking and traps and first aids. You know, for lockpicking, it's not bad, and yeah, do get range, combat, distance modifiers. It's pretty handy. Intelligence is also a good one to have pretty high, just to get more skill points per level, and you might want intelligence pretty high to offset some of the skills taking a hit when you took Gifted. I don't think I'm going to pick any other traits. You can go for Bloody Mets if you want. I'm not going to, because YouTube censors might be thick and annoying. Also, I forgot about this. We have tag skills. Don't worry folks, we're almost to the game. We can finally start playing. Tag skills, if you played Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, you might be familiar with tagged skills, but you do get to choose 3 skills that you want to prioritize in the beginning. And the handy thing about tag skills in this game is that when you're leveling up, if I tag speech, that gives me a boost to speech, but it also means when I'm leveling it up in the screen, instead of accounting for 1 point, it is 2 points. So you'll get double D points from it. So pretty handy tagging has. So you get a boost to whatever skill you want, and when you're leveling up in the level up screen, you also get a bonus when you're putting skill points into it. It's pretty handy. So definitely prioritize the things you're going to be using the most, which for today I think are going to be small guns. When we eventually get weapons, we'll have a little bit of skill put into this to help us along our way. I am going to go with unarmed for now to get that up to 74%, which is not bad for the introduction of this game. You can go for melee weapons if you want. I like hand to hand, I like unarmed. I'll show you how to use melee weapons and all that good stuff, so don't worry too much about it. We'll give it a go. And I think I will take speech. So yes, things like science and repair. Our repair skill is pretty low. I won't be able to fix the well in Arroyo, but as you're leveling up, you can put points into these things. Our skills aren't doing too bad at the moment. We have a decent little unarmored character, so we have like a bit of strength to get us going. We have unarmored skill, we have perception. Our endurance is okay, you know, we have a decent little amount of hit points. I'm not too worried about it. Our charisma is fair, it's not ridiculously low. You could take away 1 skill point from luck to have it like level and then put it into something else like more into strength, which I might actually do. I'll take 1 point away from luck and put it into strength. I'm going to take that risk. My character is just going to be very level when it comes to luck, but will have more points into strength to punch some rad scorpions in the introduction. So folks, I think that's my character for now. I think that's a decent-ish Fallout character. I usually have this one. Now, you can pick another trace if you want. I think I'm going to be okay just picking 1 trace. I think you can get by, so yes, we're going to go with gifted. Again, taking gifted is up to you if you want to keep your other skills leveled out, but it's pretty handy for your special stats. And I believe that's it. I believe now we can start playing. We have a decent-ish little character. We have enough unarmed skill to get through Fallout 2's introduction. We have a decent bit of strength. We have some perception, endurance, good bit of intelligence, max agility, level luck, and there we go. Now I'm not going to talk during this introduction, we are going to listen to the whole thing.
Come in, Chosen One. There are things you must know. The village is dying. The signs are everywhere. Withering crops, dying Brahmin, sick children. There is hope, however, a slim hope that few know of. The old discs speak of an item called the Garden of Eden Creation Kit. It is said it can bring life to the wasteland. This will be your quest, if you prove yourself worthy. For that proof, you must first journey to the Temple of Trials. If you survive, come back to me. We will talk more. Our life is in your hands, Chosen One. Prove yourself. Find the Gek. Be our salvation.
So we have our holy mission to save our village. Of course, I don't want to shit talk over the game's very nice little introduction. It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit spooky. It's a beginner's guide for a video. We might as well know what a bit of the story is. We're trying to save our village. We need to find the holy Gek. But we need to prove ourselves. We are the godchild of the Chosen One. That was actually our mother. It doesn't really get stated much, but I believe I read on the Fallout wiki once that that's actually our mammy. That's our mother. We are the grandson of the Chosen One from Fallout 1. The fellow who like saved the vault and wiped out the super mutants and all that. We're starting off with Fallout 2, of course, because I think it's very important to get through the game's introduction. But again, if you want me to do this for Fallout 1, please do let me know and I will do that for you. So, as we're starting off, we have nice big screen elements so you can see everything I'm doing. So you can move the screen by pointing your mouse across it. We can only move up and down because we're in a very small area at the moment. There are 2 sides to us. And we have the temple set before us. Now, if I look at the temple, there is a little binoculars icon, and you see temple. Here's our little contextual little menu that tells us everything we see in the world, and this menu also highlights things of like stuff we see in the world and the damage we do to enemies. We'll get into that when we get into combat, but at the beginning of the game we'll only be able to tell if an enemy is like healthy or near death. There are perks you can take with awareness that do show you exact hit points of enemies, but that is a perk you need to be aware of in the future, but we won't worry about that too much. So you're probably thinking, how do we get moving? How do we get started? We have our character right here and we can actually look at him. If I left click and hold, we do get a bunch of options. It does pause the game and then you hold down the buttons and you get a bunch of useful options here. This rotate option moves him around. There you go. You don't really need to use this like at all in the game really, so I wouldn't worry much about it. And we can look at our character. You see Micky, you see nothing out of the ordinary. You look unhurt, so the binoculars gives you more detail to the items or persons you're looking at. There's also the inventory button, which means I can check my inventory if I want, but this is not our proper inventory screen. This little button isn't used that often, but it's used for things like using items from your backpack onto other certain items in the world. A bit like point and click games in a sense, but nothing too out there. So if I actually want to use my first aid skill, I can press on the little vault boy and then we get our skill dex, which means I can use a lot of the skills we have available to us. Now, if I'm clicking on my person and clicking on skills, you know, I can use like first aid or doctor on myself and things like that. We won't worry about that too much, but if you want to use first aid on yourself, you can just click on this little skill X button right here, and then you can click on the skill and use first aid on yourself, which I'm not going to do because I don't need to heal myself. Now, the fun little thing about Fallout 2 is that you can play this game predominantly with just your mouse. You know, if you want one hand down your pants, you can do whatever you want. Have fun, you know what I mean? We're very inclusive here. Don't mind that, no fap shows. You can play this game predominantly with one hand. There are keyboard shortcuts. I believe if we press F2, it's not F2, is it F1? It's F1, I almost got this right. We see all the shortcuts available to us, so if you want to use your keyboard more often. Now this screen actually does help you a lot to know everything about this game. You get a lot of the keyboard shortcuts, but I'll teach you most of these as we're going through the game. But if you ever want some quick help as you're playing the game, definitely click on that and you will see what to do. By the way, I'm explaining a lot of things. This might seem very intimidating as we're starting off, but don't worry, it's not that complicated. Once you get started and once you get going, it's not that bad. There's just a few things to be aware of. It's not an overly complex game. You don't need a degree or anything. It's pretty straightforward. One thing too I forgot to mention before we get too much into controlling the character, I would actually recommend you read the manual for this game. Not just to learn how to play, you can do that if you want, if my explanations are short. It also gives you some backstory. I believe the PDFs should be included in your Steam and GOG installs, so definitely read the manual, especially for Fallout 1. It gives you a lot of backstory into that world, so recommend it. Anyway, let's get moving. Actually, let's save. First thing you should do is save. I have a bunch of like save games already here actually, so we're going to replace it. I have my own character called Violet, but we'll just have a main save. Now, here's the thing about Fallout. You want a lot of saves. Save often and in many different slots. I'm not joking. You want to save as often as possible. Have one save as like a general save and then have a second save set to like your quick save. And then I have another save which I usually have for combat. So if you're getting into combat, have a save for that. And I also have another save, you'll see, if I'm traveling the overworld, have a lot of different saves. Save often, save for a lot of different scenarios. You will thank me later if you're saving a lot. Let's get moving, shall we? We see we have our mouse cursor icon before us. If we right click, that changes to a little red circle. This red circle is how we move. So if I have this red circle equipped, and then if I left click, our character moves. So this red circle is how we move around, and because we have always running on, our character is always going to be running. Would you look at this? He's having a nice little prance around for himself. I love fucking running around, don't I? I love following the red circle in it. This is great. I love Fallout 2. But that's how you move around. Again, I will show you one more time. If we have the cursor equipped, we can look around, we can click on things, we can rotate our character, we can see the temple before us, we can actually click on this man right here. If I right click, see this mouse icon, that means we make out with him. No, it actually means we talk to him. Also too, with this little menu, if you miss something and you're like, oh, I wanted to read what that said, you can actually click up to see stuff. So if you miss any bit of contextual text, you can click up and down to navigate that. You see Clint, a fellow tribesman, a young man with bulging muscles and a very confident air about him. So Clint is actually blocking our way out of the temple, so we can't actually leave. This is the way back to the village. Now when we're in combat, we can't move around as much as we want as it uses action points, but we'll get to that when we get to combat. So let's actually go back to our cursor again by right clicking, and if I actually click on Clint right here, he runs to him on his own, so you don't need the red circle to get around absolutely everywhere, but for general movement it is pretty needed. Good day to you, Micky. You have not completed the trial of the elder and may not pass. I need to go back to the village. Forgive me, Micky, but I cannot allow you to pass. If you wish to return to the village, you may do so only by passing the trial set before you. I see. I guess I'll be going. You can also ask him some contextual questions. You can also be a moron and antagonize him if you want, but we're not going to do that today. There is a barter button here, but well, he actually is going to barter with us. We can trade stuff with him, but he has nothing to trade with, and I kind of want to keep my spear. I see, I'll be going. Let's go into the temple. So here's the temple entrance. Again, if you want to go to the temple, right click, red circle, click over here, and let's click into the temple. Here we go into the Temple of Trials, a very intimidating little location altogether, isn't it? I'm going to make a save before we start off. I'll be honest with you lads, there might be a chance I'll die once or twice, even during this introduction. It could happen, you know, but we'll still get through it. You know, I'm confident. I do like strategy games and things like that, but sometimes, you know, you make mistakes. Again, don't take this video too seriously, but we're going to try and effectively get through this introduction if we can. We might actually be avoiding combat in a few situations just to make sure we get through this without much problem. So, if we look before us, we have giant ants, and they look unhurt. So you can generally see if enemies are unhurt, and the more damage you do to them in combat will put down these status bars. Like you'll see, they look hurt or they look almost dead. But there is a perk you can get to increase your awareness, so you can see exactly how much health points an enemy has, and also I believe awareness shows like what weapons they have and things of that nature, so it's a very useful skill. Anyway, these ants are blocking our way. We need to get to this door. And there's a hand icon, so if I click on this hand icon, I will run towards this door to open it, but these ants are going to enter combat with us. So, if we want to enter combat, we can click on this little button here. Well, it's a big button. That's a big button. So we have gone into combat mode, and we'll see our action points are right here, and because we have 10 agility, we have all 10 action points. So, this is our attack cursor. So if I look at the ant right now, you'll see an X. That X means I am not in range to hit this ant. We are using our hands at the moment. We have no weapons, no guns. Well, we have a spear, and I mean I can throw my spear, but then I wouldn't have any other weapon to defend myself with besides my fists. So that X indicates you're not going to hit your enemy because he's all the way across the fucking room, you moron. So if I want a chance to hit this ant, I'll have to get closer to him. Boss, we're going to let the ant get close to us, and how are we going to do that? We're going to do that by exiting combat in a moment, but I do want to show you when we move around in combat, if I get out our classic red circle, we're actually seeing a number. This number indicates how much action points it takes to move. If I wanted to move this little tile over, it is 1 action point. If I want to move away further, it's 2 and 3 and 5 and all that. I can't even leave the map in this turn because it would take too much action points to run out of here. Let's say if I move 5 points over here, that has now taken up 5 points of my action skill, and if I expend 5 more of my points, my turn has ended. But the ants haven't detected me, so it has actually brought us out of combat. We're out of combat mode, there's no danger, but I can enter combat mode again if I want. The reason you would want to enter combat mode like this, if the enemy is far away, you have a sniper or a really good range weapon and you want to attack them far away, you can do that. You can end your turn by pressing on this, or you can end combat by pressing on this button, and this ends combat outright. How about we start fighting some creatures? So we're actually going to let these ants attack us first. So if I run over here, come here, ants. There you go. Now I'm actually having 2 of them starting to fight me at once, and immediately you saw the ant run towards me. Now enemies also have action points too, so they only get so many hits in during combat, and when they're moving that uses their action points. We can look at the ant, nothing out of the ordinary. He seems unhurt. We're actually not close enough to the ant to even hit him, so I still need to move 1 point closer to the ant to be able to hit him. Now if I look at my little menu, we have a 72% chance to hit. That's not bad. That's actually not a bad chance to hit the character. Now, if we're looking at this square box thing, you will see strong punch, 3 action points. That is indicating that I currently have a punch equipped. So we essentially have our fists out, we are ready to punch. We've already used 1 action point, so 3, 6, 9. I can hit this enemy 3 times. Now, if I right click on this square, I can actually go into VATS mode, and this is more like the VATS mode we're used to in more modern Fallout games, where you can specifically target parts of the creature if you want. You can try and go for hitting them in the head or the feelers, which can actually frenzy them, and the 4 legs, you want to cripple their legs. So our hit chance actually varies if you want to do VATS. If you want to sacrifice a bit of your hit chance so you can go for the heads, going for the head can be a critical hit, and also going for the groin. There's also the methathorax, which is the part of the ant that's kind of the ass. I wonder if that counts as the groin in this context. But we won't worry about VATS hits too much, but for now, we'll just be used to combats. Now, if I press on this red button, it actually changes to our next weapon. Now, we can only have 2 items equipped at one time. So our second item, if I press this button, will be a strong kick, and the kick takes 4 action points. The kick is going to be stronger, but since it's stronger, it takes up more action points. So I'll only be able to use this kick twice in combat, but since it's 8 points, 4, 8, I'll be able to kick him 2 times, and I'll have 1 action point left over to be able to walk away if I need to, but I'm not going to be able to walk away very far, so the ant is still going to be able to catch up to me and do a bit of damage. So for now, let's actually do our 3 hits and see how effectively we hit. So 72% chance is not terrible. I missed. Let's try again. I missed. 70. Let's try again. Hey, I got a lucky hit, and I hit him for 7 points, and the ant was killed. I'm actually going to try and end combat and see if this ant is going to run towards me. Come here, Buzzy. There you go. I'm going to let him start combat so that he can run towards me, and I'm not using my action points. So now, again, I get to hit him 3 times. We're losing a bit of hit chance, but it does depend on where you're situated. Okay. I killed him in 1 hit. We're actually doing well. For destroying your enemies without taking a scratch, you earn 25 experience. So, since that was a successful little bit of combat, we are going to save our game. Yes, so if I select F6, we can actually select the quick save slot, and if I select this as our quick save slot, boom. If I want a quick save, I press F6 and then the game successfully saves. You can choose a quick load slot and then that quick loads the game. So you have your quick save and quick load mechanics. So there you go. You do have to reset these if you load like one of your proper save files, which is a bit annoying, but you know, if you're not doing that, you have quick save and quick load mechanics. So that's there. Let's say in a scenario where I went through that fight with the ants and I got hurt, you can actually heal by resting. But here's the thing about this introduction that I really don't like. I don't know why they did this. I'm not wearing the Pip-Boy, so we actually can't rest. We can't rest during this introduction, so you need to be very careful. These red scorpions that you see right here wandering around, he's a little bit behind the pillar. He could do poison damage to you. And if they poison damage you enough, that wills away at your health and you can die. You can't heal by resting because the game's not allowing us to rest. So this introduction is kind of bullshit. And I've also not gone over how you don't start with a gun in the beginning of this game, and it is exceptionally bullshit how Fallout 2 is structured this way. It really sucks that you're not given any sort of gun at the beginning of this game, because there is a chance you could like make a new character. Let's say you don't put points into strength, but you put points into perception and agility and endurance, expecting to go in with like a run and gun character or whatever, and then you go through the introduction of this game and you're like, wait, I only have my fists, and if we click on the inventory button, I only have a spear. You're not given any guns at all to defend yourself, so you're kind of screwed. Fallout 1 doesn't make this mistake. If you start Fallout 1, you're actually given a pistol and a knife to defend yourself. So you're actually given a ranged weapon at the beginning of that game. You aren't for Fallout 2 for some stupid reason. I don't know how. It's dumb design if you ask me. The introduction for this game, it's not very good. I don't like it. I think an ant was just hit by a trap. I've been standing around here so long that the ants are like setting off traps. There's a trap around here. Yeah, anyway. Let's get started. So we actually do need to be careful in the introduction here. We might avoid these rat scorpions here because they do a lot of damage and there's no items here. There should be an item highlight button, right? I believe holding shift should be highlighting hidden items on the ground, and I'm pressing shift and I'm not seeing any hidden items. If I press shift too many times, I'll get sticky keys up. The ant has actually walked all the way out here, so you know what, no, ant, if you want to come all the way down here, feckin' why not? And I'll have to spend 4 points to walk towards him. Okay. You know what now? I'll spend 4 points walking towards you. I'll change to my kick and we'll see if we can get a strong kick in. Now the kick will be 72%. Oh, I killed him with a kick. That was 9 points of damage. That is not bad. One thing I did want to go over, you can press this button here and you get your little options menu. You get your preferences if you want to change those. Again, you get your save and load, you get your exit game, all that good stuff by pressing on the circle. You can also press escape on your keyboard. It does the same thing. For all of the buttons down here, there is a shortcut on your keyboard that also opens these. There is the inventory button, INV. Pretty self-explanatory. We don't have much to our person at all, but we can see our stats. We can see our item 1 and item 2. That's our item we can have equipped in our hand. hand, and our second item, you can have a gun in this if you want, and then a melee weapon, so during combats if an enemy gets too close you can switch from your range to a melee weapon, or you can have like a beneficial item like a stim pack or something along those lines, so you can use a stim pack during combats to increase your health, or you can use like a buff house to, you know, increase your strength and your stats and stuff while you're in combat. So let's actually showcase this practically, Micky. We are going to have our spear in item number 1. Now we are given a spear to protect ourselves with, and we can actually get more information from our spear like I did by right clicking and pressing on the little binoculars icon. If we right click and see this little drop icon, that is how we drop items in our inventory. If I drop it now, actually, if I press shift, it should be highlighted. Yes, now if we press shift we can see items on the floor. I can see my spear is right there. Now the ant is a little bit obscuring us, but we can pick back up our spear. So yeah, if you need more carry weight, that's how you drop stuff. Let's put our spear into item 1. There we go, we have thrust with our spear, and if I right click we also get our little VATS menu, but there's no ant close nearby us, so. And we also get to throw our spear for 6 action points, which I believe you'll be able to pick up your spear again after, and we can also throw our spear in that mode, and that uses 7 action points, but for now we're just going to worry about thrust. So let's go over to this ant here. Hello pal. He just gave me a little but he does 3 damage. The ants don't poison you, but the rad scorpions do, so be aware. My melee weapon skill isn't very effective, so we only have a 42% chance to hit this little anti fella, but we're gonna try. So in this combat scenario, I tried hitting my spear. It's not very effective. Let's say I wanted to switch over to my kick, which is in item 2, because we have our spear in 1, and 1 is usually where our punch is, but since that's taken up, we can only use our kick for melee. But I can switch over. It doesn't cost action points to switch weapons, but it does cost action points to go into your inventory. Let's actually check how much. Say I wanted to go into my inventory to like use a stim pack. How much action points does it use? It uses 4 action points, so be aware of that. So we're actually going to run away 2 points, and oh god, we have 2 ants after us. Oh, he didn't follow me. Okay, I might actually walk away 3 points and let him come towards me. Very strategic. That means I don't have to use action points to get close to them. Let's use our kick. I missed. Here's the downside to our kick. It takes more action points to use. If I run too far down here, the rad scorpions might actually detect us, and I don't want to fight them particularly because they can poison us. So yeah, the downside to using our kick, we don't get hit as often with our punch, and it's less accurate, but it does do more damage. So if we can actually hit, it does a lot of damage to the ants. The ants don't have a lot of health at all. There we go, down without much of a bother. And for crushing our enemies, we earn 50 experience. And, oh yeah, I'm going a little bit quick, so I'm going into Micky playing mode. But here is a little urn. We can actually search this urn. If I press the item highlight, it doesn't actually highlight urn. So if something looks like it can be searchable, make sure you put your mouse over it. And if you see the hand icon, and it says POS in the bottom left, that means we can pick us up. No, that is not POS. You're not going to be getting high on POS news around here. But if I click on it, we can walk over, and we get healing powder. Healing powder is a very interesting little healing item, and I will show you why in a second. A very powerful healing magic though will bring the feeling of sleep to your head. Healing powder does heal you, but it lowers your perception by 1, which means you aren't going to be hitting enemies as effectively. So there's a bit of a catch-22 to healing powder. Also, I'm going to unequip my spear. I'm not very effective with spear. I'm just going to go on my hand-to-hand for now because that is my highest skill. We'll go with that to defend ourselves. Healing powder, a bit of a downside. It actually puts down your perception, so it actually affects your ability to hit enemies. So it makes this dungeon even more annoying because you can't heal by resting, which you can do in a lot of places in this game, but you can't during the introduction dungeon because we don't have the Pip-Boy, which allows us to rest, which is weird. But anyway, stim packs don't have this downside to them. Now, if we're looking over here, there are some rad scorpions running around. I believe there is a chest actually in here, so you can fight these rad scorpions if you want. You know what? We'll make a save and I'll show you just how dangerous fighting these rad scorpions can actually be, but there might be some good loot if we can do it, so we'll actually go and fight these fellas. So rad scorpions have more action points to attack, and they do a little bit more damage. There's 3 rad scorpions here. I don't think it's going to be much worth it to fight them, but we'll try this one fella. 71%. 1, 2. Oh, I killed him in 2 hits. Oh, never mind. He's not that tough. Do the other rad scorpions know I'm here? They do not. Okay, let's try and fight this fella. I get 60 experience. I get a lot of experience for fighting him. Okay. 1. I made a pretty strong character for hand-to-hand fighting. We're doing pretty well. I thought I was going to do shite, but I did give my character a lot of strength. Micky, you're actually playing Fallout 2 well. Oh my god, I'm actually making a semi-effective beginner's guide. Oh my god. I defeated those guys effortlessly. Okay. Is there any chest here? Okay, so there's no chest for my reward. There's bones here. What's in the bones? There's another spear which you could have to sell back in the village if you want, or you can use it to throw it at the enemies. But yeah, that's all that's here. Also, you can search the enemies. I forgot, I didn't actually search the ants because they don't usually have anything on them. But you can search rat scorpions again with the hand icon. Just click and your character will run over. There is rat scorpion tail. You can sell this, but it is quite heavy. Can actually see their carry weights in the menu here. Yeah, it weighs 20 pounds. That is exceptionally heavy. Takes up a bit of our total weight, which is 225. That is a decent amount of carry weight to have at the beginning of this game. Yeah, that's 40 pounds. We'll just take 2 for the moment. Maybe we can trade it for something back in the village. But we did combat very effectively there. My character is pretty strong at the old unarmored, so we have a good character to get through this introduction. He doesn't actually have much skill in small guns, so when we level up, we'll have to put some points in the guns. So, I just clicked on this door to transition us to the next area, but we have noticed it is locked. If I click on it again, door is locked. So how do we open a locked door? I tell you one thing, there's no fucking key around. So what we're going to have to do is use our lock picking skill. One way we can use our lock picking skill is if we go into our skill X, we can select lockpick, and if I do, I get this little yellow cursor, and it's gone away because I moved the screen a bit. We get this little yellow cursor and we can click on the object we want to unlock, in this case the door, and that is one way to open it. I'll just get rid of this for now. Another thing you can do is if you're on a keyboard, these skills correlate to a number on your keyboard. So sneak is 1, lockpick is 2, steal is 3, traps is 4, first aid is 5. You get the idea. So if I press 2 on my keyboard, I get the lockpick cursor. So there's a little shortcut. And let's click on this door. I definitely picked the lock. You don't need a lot of lockpick skill to open this door. In fact, I'm sure you can't even fail it. It's the beginning. It's just to show you how to open doors. While we open the lock, we definitely pick it. We get 25 experience. You can break locks if you're not very effective at lockpicking, so be aware. And this is an interesting room. It's because it's trapped. It's a sneaky little trap room, but we're actually going to just run to the end of the room. See, there's a bunch of plates and stuff, and if I press the highlight key, we actually see there's a bunch of sharpened poles on the floor. We can pick these up actually if you want to try, but yeah, see, there's the raised plates. Is there more raised plates? Let's try and pick this up. Uh-oh, I think there is. Oh no, there isn't. Let's go. Okay, now let's stay away from this room. Okay, the ant has detected us. Let's check our inventory. The sharpened pole. It is a wood pole. It's another little melee weapon, but it's not as powerful as our spear, because our spear is 3 to 13 damage, and our sharpened pole is 2 to 7. You can throw these if you want. We'll try throwing us. Feck us. How much? Is 6 action points. That is all of my action points. Let's try throwing a spear. I'm gonna miss. Did I get him? Yeah, I missed. Because my chance to hit was 30. Let's get this fella walking up to us. Let's try hitting him. There we go. I got the hit on you. And there we are. Now, there's another room with rad scorpions here, but there is a chest we can see that looks like a chest. Yes, it is, so I'm going to make a save. You want to save a lot during this introduction? Again, you can quick save if you want. We have the hotkey. Let's actually try and take on these rad scorpions, because I want what's in this chest. And you'll see what's in this chest. Okay, can I take you on? Punch. Punch. I'm actually very effective at taking down the rad scorpions. I made a very powerful melee character. Okay. No, that's bad. He has only hit me once. It did 5 points of damage. We don't have a lot of health points. 5 points is a lot when our health is like at max 32. We also just got poisoned. So our health is going to be drained by poison over time, which is bad. And if it gets to 0, it will kill you. So let's try and kill this fella quick. And you're probably thinking, how do you cure poison? Well, you can rest and hope it doesn't kill you, and eventually it just goes away. Or you can use antidotes. Here's the deal. I have no antidotes in my inventory. Healing powder won't cure it, but can keep you alive long enough to maybe have enough hit points to wait out the poison. Or we can rest, but I can't rest because I'm not wearing a Pip-Boy. So that's a problem. But we do have a chest open to us. What's in this chest if I search it? It's healing powder. I thought this was going to be the poison antidote actually. There's a chest over here. I thought this chest had antidote. No, it doesn't. It's this one over here, I think. So we're actually gonna... yeah, we're gonna stay being poisoned. There's a little bit of a precarious bit of a walkway in this introduction dungeon. But yeah, let's run quickly to that chest. It's like we're poisoned, our health is being lowered. We're gonna get to that chest so that we can get our antidote to heal ourselves. I was clicking on that urn. Don't worry about that urn for the moment. Actually, Ant, you can run towards me if you want. Or not. Sometimes he wants to stay there. I'll just run towards him. Punch. 1 punch. We are 1 punch village man. Let's search this urn. Now we get a plastic explosive. It is a chunk of Cordex, a military brand of plastic explosives, highly stable, very destructive, includes a timer. Yeah, this is where our explosives skill comes into effect. Actually, there is no explosive. It's traps, right? This is included with traps. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, trap is the setting of explosives. There's no specific explosive skill. Grenades and stuff is under throwing. Our health is probably going to be slowly draining soon, but it's not draining at the moment. It's probably very slow. Let's actually take out these ants here so I don't have to worry about them too much. We're gonna see what we have to use that explosive for in a moment, but we'll just try and get our antidote first. So I'm running around, letting the ants run towards me a bit. I'll leave you keep running towards me. Do you not want to run towards me? Let's wait again. There you go. It takes you 2 turns to run towards me. There he goes. He just runs right towards us, so we don't have to use all our action points, and we're getting loads of experience, and we're hitting them very effectively. No more ants here, no more ants. Let's search this chest. And here we go. We have antidotes. A bottle containing a home brewed antidote for poison. A milky liquid with floating pieces of rat scorpion flesh. That sounds very succulent. It doesn't look very milky, but I guess that's just the colour of the bottle. Anyway, there is our antidote, and if we use that, it'll cure our poison. Well, it cures 5 current poison levels, so there are different levels to the poison, but it cures ours essentially. That's all you have to worry about. Now here is this little door in our way. Now this door is impenetrable, which means we can't lockpick it. An old, worn door. Looks like it could be destroyed with a well-placed explosive. This is where we need to put our thinking caps on. An explosive, we obviously searched this urn and found the explosive we need. You also can't go down here. This is like, yeah, nothing out of the ordinary. It's just a bit of a chasm. Is there actually anything back here? Why not? I never actually properly checked back here. Any items around us? No, there's nothing back here. Is there not? Yeah, it's just a little ledge. But we do have explosives now. Our trap skill isn't very high, so we're not going to be very effective with this explosive, but we're going to equip it nonetheless. We also had 2 healing powders, so if your health's a bit low and you want to use some healing powder, go for it. I don't want to take the hit to my perception at the moment. So yes, we're going to go towards this door. We need to blow it open with an explosive. Now we're going to make a save just in case we screw up, but we're probably not going to. So don't screw up here, make plenty of saves, because you don't want to run out of explosives, otherwise you can't get through this door, and you soft lock yourself. Good job. I think, yeah, you're pretty much screwed. You can't get through this door, you have to restart the game. Isn't that nice? Unless there's a way to circumvent that, which I'm not sure. But hey, so we have the explosives in our item menu. We can use it in inventory like this, can we? We can actually. So we can use it from our inventory, or if I cancel that, we can also use this in our item menu. Now we do get to set a timer. Now our trap skill isn't very high, so we're not going to be very effective at setting a timer. Believe it or not, that does have an effect. This is set for 1 minute. We're not going to wait a minute for this thing to go off. We're going to wait the least amount of time, because 10 seconds is more than enough time to run out of the way, but we need to be quick. Depending on your trap skill depends on how effective we are at setting this timer, which I'll show you in a second, but let's press done. Let's run. Quickly switch to your red circle and run out of the way. Timer is set. Due to your inept handling, the explosive detonates prematurely, just like my sex life. So because we're not as effective with explosives, it goes off prematurely. We can't set an effective timer. If you're better at traps, you'll be able to set the timer well. We're not that well at it, so that's why you want to set it off and book it out of that room. But yeah, we opened the door. We blew it open. I also triggered a trap and avoided a projectile, and here we are in the last room of this big dungeon. Now we have a man up ahead. Again, you can use your mouse to go across the screen to see everything before you, and we can see the danger that lies before us. We can see there's ants here, there's a chest, and there's a door, and leading to the door is a villager who is more than likely our last little taste before we are proven to be the chosen one. And if we look up here, we have red scorpions, and we have another chest. So I think what we'll do is we're actually going to risk fighting these red scorpions. Why not? We have a powerful enough character. I think we can handle them. Let's try and take on these red scorpions. Here I am. I'll rock you like a hurricane. 7 hit points. There we go. I'm pretty effective at these red scorpions. If your melee skill isn't as high, let's say you spec into small guns, then you're not going to be very effective at this introduction section. Again, I'm going to keep waiting until they run to me, just so if I'm running to them, I'm not wasting action points. 68%, that could have been 69. There we go, we're getting some good rolls. on our hits, so for defeating our enemies we gain 60 experience. Let's search this chesticle. There is more antidotes and healing powder inside, so we don't need antidotes at the moment. We can sell that in the future if we want, or we can keep it on us for a rainy day. Now there are ants here. These ants are so huge and so alien. You could say this room is an alien ant farm. You know, kill the ant. Kill him. 72%. There you go. And 3% more. There we are. And if we actually search through this chest, you might be a little confused because there's nothing in it, but we'll find out the context of this chest in a minute. Now let's go through the door. Let's walk up to this nice little man here. Now this is going to be an interesting little encounter, but I will show you what it's like when we talk to this man. So again, go into your interaction cursor, click on the man, there's the mouse icon. We can also look at him for a little bit more context. You see a young man with bulging muscles and a very confident air about him. Was he the guy in the introduction? How did he get past here? How the heck did you get here before me? Anyway, here's some nice coals. There's a fire pit. You see nothing else of the ordinary. What about me? What if I look at me? Do I see a handsome man? You look wounded. Oh, so I have a little bit of health damage. Anyway, let's talk to this man. Cameron? I don't know your name. First name Dave. Greetings, Micky. I have the honor of being your final challenge. To continue in your quest, you must defeat me in unarmed combat. Shall we begin? So it's a good thing we spec'd in unarmed skill. But you can take some time to prepare if you want to use your healing items to prepare for this fight. We can immediately go into the fight, or we can ask some contextual questions first. And I would recommend you ask some contextual questions. We have a high intelligence, which means we get some extra dialogue options, so let's see if that actually benefits us in this situation. What would you like to know? Is this a fight to the death? No, my friend, you need only defeat me. When the time comes, we will end the battle. Alright, what would you like to know? You say that we are to fight unarmed. Yes, weapons tend to distance us from battle and desensitize the effect of our actions against others. When you strike, you can see there the dialogue goes a little too fast, and it's not being voice acted, so I don't know why it does that, but you can press on the little dialogue box here to go up and down if the game's text moves too quickly. When you strike another human being with your bare fist, you both see and feel the pain you cause. Battle becomes very personal and all too real then. This is an important lesson for you, Micky. I understand. I'm a 25-year-old man. You think I would have experienced a fight maybe once or twice in my life. We can also ask, why do we have to fight? Very important question, this. The path of the chosen one is not an easy trial to walk, Micky. You will be faced with many challenges throughout your lifetime, and the most difficult of these will be dealing with your fellow man. There will come a time when diplomacy and tact will prove to be useless, and your hand must be raised instead. This challenge prepares you to face another human. Look him in the eyes and know that you may have to kill him. I see, or we can say, I disagree with you. I think that a peaceful solution to any problem is possible. So Fallout is actually opening up the possibility of talking people down instead of resorting to your fists, which is also a very useful tool to have in your repertoire of abilities. So let's see if we can convince them of our side of, listen, if you beat the shit out of me, I'm not going to be a very effective chosen one. I believe we can come to a peaceful resolution. You may be correct, Micky, but not in our current situation. You must defeat me to succeed in your trial. Look, I don't know all of your strengths and weaknesses, and you don't know mine. Accidents do happen, so what if one of us inadvertently kills the other? Let's just end this now rather than take that chance, okay? So you can actually talk in out of doing this whole battle in the first place, just in case, you know, what if one of you does like a lethal punch and knocks you out and kills you, you know, that kind of thing. Fights can get pretty dangerous, so we have convinced them, look, if you hurt me way too much, I'm not going to be the chosen one, I'm not going to save the village, maybe I can talk you out of it. And this is a very viable option in Fallout, so definitely, if you're going through dialogue in this game, you know, take note of all of your options. There might be more than one way to deal with the situation presented before you. I see your point. I wouldn't want to be responsible for killing you when all I meant to do was test your metal. Very well, you may pass. Chosen one. Now, I believe this is because of either our speech skill and our intelligence. If it's not high enough, I don't believe we get that dialogue option, but because we're a pretty smart fella, we got to talk him down. And thanks, I'll see you back in the village. So now, this guy just fecks off. You can hand-to-hand fight him if you want. It's not too hard of a fight, but if your health is low, it could be a bit of a problem. And if your unarmored skill isn't very high, you know, you can just talk him out of the fight to circumvent it. You can avoid a very annoying section if your stats aren't very high. Let us go into the door and guess our reward. Now, why is that vault suit in particular so important? That is the vault suit of the original Vault Dweller from Fallout 1. You can see the holy number 13 imprinted onto our vault suit. The Vault Dweller in Fallout 1 is seen as a legend of this village. He's the one that founded this village. He's the one that set it up after they were outcast from the village. I believe I've been saying he for the Vault Dweller, but you know, the Vault Dweller can be a man or a woman. So you are the grandchild of the Vault Dweller. They do revere the Vault Dweller as a legend. It's one of the only Fallout games that really reveres one of the past characters. Like, the Lone Wanderer in Fallout 3 gets a few passing mentions. The Courier isn't, like, mentioned at all. I don't believe in any future Fallout games. But the Vault Dweller from Fallout 1 is revered. He did do some pretty important actions, such as, like, wiping out the super mutant threat, even though there are still super mutant remnants all over the wasteland because Bethesda wanted to keep that going. But you know, super mutants were a lot more rare in Fallout 2 because we pretty much wiped out their production on Fallout 1. But now in future Fallout games, it's like that never really happened anyway. So yeah, I said I won't be too critical. But anyway, we are now standing in the village of Arroyo. Let's save our game, folks. We have gotten through the introduction of Fallout 2. Now, we have gotten through the worst part of Fallout 2, which is the introduction. I did not like Fallout 2's introduction. It's very bad. We got through it without much issue. We didn't even die. And now I believe we have our Pip-Boy. Yes, we also got our holy Pip-Boy and our vault suit. So we actually have the ability to rest now to increase our health points. If we press on the little bell icon, we can choose how much we want to rest. You can rest by 10, 30 minutes if you want to. That's a very minimal amount of time to be resting, but you can rest an hour or 6 hours depending on how long you rest. Depends on how much health you get back. You can see our max hit points is 40. We gained more hit points because we leveled up, but we'll get to that in a moment. And we can rest until we're fully healed. We can rest until midnight, until morning. If I rest until morning, that's actually until tomorrow. Let's rest a couple of hours until noon. You see, we got an extra hit point. I'm actually still damaged a bit. Huh. I'm still poisoned. Let's go into our character. Can I actually see poison damage? Interesting, we're still poisoned a little bit. Poison will do damage over a period of time until cured or passes from your system. We might actually save our antidote and it might pass from our system. We're not low on health, so poison damage shouldn't be too bad. Anyway, folks, we have our vault suits. We're a nice looking man. I actually kind of like playing girls in Fallout 2 because they look pretty cool in the vault suit, but we're just a man for today because maybe I just wanted a willy. Now, like I said, we've gotten through the introduction of Fallout 2. The game is starting to open up a little bit, but there is more we can do. Now this video is turning into kind of a playthrough, but again, like I said, I wanted to get as far into this playthrough to get us our first gun, and that's what we are going to do. So, let us continue into this hut before us and get more context into our quest. Here's the village elder. Let's click on her.
Congratulations, chosen one. You have survived the Temple of Trials. Are you ready for your quest?
You'll notice that for some select Fallout characters, they'll have what we call in the community a talking head. Not every character has this, as we've seen, but some important characters in Fallout will have unique talking heads. They made these with like clay figures back in the day. It's pretty cool. There's screenshots and things of it out there. Like I've said before, the game doesn't tell you this, but she's your mother or she's your mom. At least the wiki says this. Maybe it says this in the manual or something like that. But yeah, she's your mother. She is the daughter of the Vault Dweller in Fallout 1. So there's a bit of contextualized lore for you. What were you doing? Trying to get me killed in the temple? Of course, I'd like to think about it some more. Now, you can be very snarky in Fallout 2. Even though you grew up in a village with like sticks and stones and bones and all that, a lot of your dialogue can actually be a little bit goofy and wacky and have a lot of pop culture references and all that. You can talk like an 80s action hero with like comical effects and everything else, but we're going to be nice and cordial to our village elder and respect their customs. So let's just say, of course, if she asks if we're ready.
Then take this flask. It is from the Holy Vault 13. Vic, a trader in Klamath, brought it to us. He may know where the vault is. You may also need some of what they call money. Here.
Here's also a very interesting thing about Fallout 2. Society has actually advanced to such a point that caps aren't used anymore. In Fallout 2, caps are actually kind of a joke now in this universe. You can actually find caps in the game world, and the game kind of pokes fun as like nobody uses these anymore. They're very archaic. So anyway, in later Fallout games, Bethesda brought back the caps. Now what I will say is that I don't actually have too much of an issue of them bringing back caps in the Fallout universe because it's a very iconic way of having currency. I don't think it's too bad of a change. Lore-wise, it does bring a bit of issues with inconsistency, but Fallout New Vegas actually tried to balance the two. It has bottle caps, but it also has like more modern currencies with like the Legion and the NCR. But in Fallout 2, you're using money and coins, and the new California Republic is very much set into motion during the timeline of this game. So for the context of this game, caps are no more. Is there more you can tell me?
What do you need?
Tell me about the Geck.
It is a holy artifact. The Garden of Eden creation kit. The discs promise it will make our lands green and our village prosperous. It will save us. More, I do not know.
So our holy quest is finding the Garden of Eden creation kit, which were sent out with Vault. Yes, we are on a quest to get a Garden of Eden creation kit. We're not finding a water chip. There's no time limit in this game. There's more I want to know. Also, if you're very snarky with these NPCs, they will get angry at you. Their face will change to like sneers depending on if they like you or not. So there's a little interesting thing to keep in mind. How do I get to Klamath, the closest town? We need to find Vic in Klamath.
Klamath is to the east.
And that's the only context we get.
What do you need?
Go east. Where is Vault 13?
13? I cannot help you. Only the Vault Dweller knew. His tales have the sound of a perilous journey.
So we're not given the exact location of Vault 13. We have to find that ourselves.
Find Vic in Klamath. We are counting on you.
Goodbye, Elder. She has given me her holy quest. You go into combat if you want and attack them all if you want, but you'll die. So you still have that bit of Fallout freedom. You can attack any enemy. You have your good and bad choices and things of that nature. We can explore the village if we want. We're among the village people. Not the YMCA song, but actual village people. We've gotten a level up. If I press on the character screen, we actually do get to put points into our level. I already clicked on the screen, so the level up message did go away. But we do have skill points that we can now put in to our skills. So we can actually put skills into small guns if we want, speech and everything else. As you see with our tag skills, which is small guns, if I put one skill point into this, it goes up by 2. And for a skill that's not tagged, let's say big guns for example, it only expends 1 skill point. So what do we actually want to increase? I might actually put up repair to 15 to see if we can't repair the well that's in Arroyo, but we'll get to that encounter in a moment. I'm kind of moving forward in things and kind of spoiling things a little, which probably isn't as effective for a beginner's guide. But for the context, I know we're going to repair a well here, so I'm going to put some points into repair here to show that off. I also want to put points into unarmored a little bit more. Or do I? I think I actually want to put more skills into melee weapons for the moment. And maybe try and get by on that, because there is a way we can get a more powerful spear, which we're going to need to defeat some of the enemies here. So I'll put the rest of our points into melee weapons for the moment, so we have a bit of defense for ourselves, because it's going to be a little bit longer until we get a proper gun. So let's put, points into more melee weapons. And if we talk to this man standing next to the well, we have your nephew, Fergus. I doubt it's Fergus. It looks like Fergus. So we'll talk to Fergus, crying about something as usual. Our poor nephew, being so mean. Wah, please fix the well. He's crying about our well being broken. I think that's a normal thing to cry about. You know, we have no running water. Let's see if we can fix our well. Again, if I go into this menu here, the skill decks, and click on our repair skill, we only have 15 repair skill. So let's click on that and see if we can do it. We actually had enough experience to repair it. We got 100 experience and the well's fixed. You the one. We actually don't get much of a reward except experience for fixing the well. So, you know. But still, we fixed the well. We did our thing. So we can actually wander around a good bit of this village if we want. Let's go into this little house here. And if you want to be a little bit sneaky, we can actually search these pots. Maybe make sure you're not being spotted doing this. I believe the village people actually do let you like search around in these without stealing. But be aware if you're in towns and settlements later on, this will count as stealing. And we have Xanderroot. You Fallout New Vegas heads might recognize Xanderroot as one of the ingredients you need to make healing powder. But we also need the other ingredient to make healing powder, which is Brock flour. But we got one Xanderroot. Now you're noticing when I'm clicking on containers, our character actually has to put away his spear before searching. I mean, get his spear back out rather. He puts it away and then gets it back out. And that takes a while. So a small little tip, before you go searching around a lot of items and things like that, actually unequip your weapon and then search an item. and it takes up less time. So if you're searching items, unequip your weapon, so they don't have to get it out every single time, and it's delayed, and the animation takes a bit. It can be a bit annoying. But let's actually search just behind the village, Elder, and we get a knife, which is a pretty handy little melee weapon. We don't get as much range with the knife as we do our spear, but it does 1 to 9 damage, and it takes less action points to use, so not a bad little melee weapon to have at the beginning. Plus I'm just stealing all our stuff, but we're the chosen one. I think we're allowed it. We also get fruits. Now, sometimes fruits can heal you. No preservatives, no additional food, colouring added, a strange piece of fruit. Sometimes I believe this can heal you. I don't use it too often. It's not a very effective way of healing. But we can try it a bit in a minute, I guess, if we want. By the way, I'm going to pilfer all your stuff first before I talk to you, village man, because I'm just so nice. You don't have much stuff. Yeah, empty, empty, empty. By the way, I hope I'm making an effective little beginner tutorial here. I imagine most of this information is overwhelming. I am talking a lot, but I do like this game. I do want to be pretty comprehensive. If you're enjoying so far, please leave a like if it's helping you out, and if it's gotten you playing Fallout 2 even, and if you're playing and enjoying the game right now after watching this video, let me know. I would love to know if this was in any way useful. But let us talk to this man right here. Before you stands Hakunen, the village shaman. He appraises you with his crazy eyes from somewhere in the world only he inhabits, so he sounds a little bit strange.
Greetings, chosen. Why does the earth before me warm to the touch of your passing?
He's a very intimidating looking NPC. Some of these talking heads can actually be quite scary. As a kid, I found him a little bit unsettling. But he's wearing a nice little bone. He's wearing a little bone helmet. It's very kind of hard to make out, but yeah, he's wearing a skull that's all kind of broken up, and you can see his bald head, and he's like very, very, very big eyes under his head. They're not getting much food and nutrition, and the village is very much dying and suffering and is going through famine. You can be nice. I've come to say goodbye. I'm leaving on my holy quest, or I'm heading out. I was hoping just once you talk to me like a real person, or you were just doing way too many chems. I'm out of here. Let's be nice to Hakunen. I like this fella.
The earth sings with the news of a champion upon the land. Perhaps before you go, you would bestow a kindness?
Sure, what you need, it depends what you give me. What will I get out of it? Let's be nice. Sure, what you want.
Plants of dark soul have infested my garden again. Many seasons have touched my bones, and I am too frail for the fight which is eternal in nature. I ask that you be my champion.
I don't think so. I need to start my quest right away. I know you're not a bad guy, but I've got a headache already, so I'll have to pass. The game is just assuming you want to be an asshole to him right off the bat. Forget it. I'm the future leader of this tribe, and it would be undignified for me to do your gardening for you. I'd be honoured, Holy One. Did you just ask me to weed your garden? If that's the case, okay, or for a price? You know what? I'll ask this one. I'll weed your garden.
May the gods bless your efforts, chosen. May your aura grace my presence when the earth breathes clean again.
So Hakunen is very connected with spirits and nature and the world. I take it you just want to see me again when I'm done. You could have just said so, you know. We'll just say goodbye. I don't want to piss him off. If you pick too many aggravating dialogue options, he actually gets quite pissed off at you. Now, here are the creatures in his garden. They're actually plants of a dark soul. These plants aren't just harmful to the garden, they also have the ability to attack humans and other creatures. These are mutated Venus flytraps, and they can be quite intimidating and difficult. So let's try and take them out. The spore plants can actually spit at you, and if I press shift, you can see they actually throw little plant spikes at you. You can pick them up, and I think you can throw them back at them if you want, but we're going to do 7 points, which leaves me with enough range to use my knife, which is 3 action points. So let's try and get hit. 48%, we're not very good with our knife, but we'll keep trying. We get 3 hits per turn. Yeah, not very good with our knife, but it does a decent bit of damage. There we go, I got 7 hit points. 3 hit points. We're missing quite a bit. This could be a tough little battle if you're not prepared. Again, the more points we put into melee weapons, the more that hit chance will increase. 8 hit points. You can see these plants actually have quite a bit of hit points. They're doing quite a bit of damage to me. So your health is down into the yellow. These guys can keep you on your feet. They can be quite tough. Uh-oh, I just missed 3 times in a row. There we go. Now we've taken out that spore plant. Can I end combat without the other fella attacking me? Okay. I'm going to make a safety save. I'm going to make a combat save. We'll actually use our combat save before going into the fight. And what I might do is prioritize our kick for this next battle and see if we do any better. 1. Okay, we do much better with our kick. Maybe I should have put more points into unarmed, but you know what? Make mistakes. That's how you get better and improve at these games. 9 hit points. They are doing quite a bit of damage to me. You see our health points are lowering quite a bit. We are hitting more effectively though, so I think changing to kicks was the right strategic strategy. Now we're in a very dangerous situation at the moment. Our health points are at 7. I could go into my inventory right now and use my healing powder, but that would cost 4 hit points and use up my actual points for this turn. Now if I click on the plant, he is almost dead. So I believe I'm going to take a risk and try and attack this plant. Now there's a chance this plant could kill us, and if he does, it's my fault. 1 hit point and he missed. Let's keep going. Let's take a risk. We killed the plant. We actually could have died there if I wasn't careful. We defeated all the enemies. Let's go back to Hakunin. Hakunin the tassel. What a really shitty name.
You return the spirit of the dweller to the world and bring a smile to the soul of an old man in passing. For this, I give you powders of healing. Remember, they fog the mind as they cleanse the body.
And they really do fog the mind because they lower your perception. So, he's not lying.
And also, will I mix the Brock flower with the Xander root together whenever you bring both to me. May your pathways be true and your heart follow suit.
Where can I find these things? Brock flower and Xanderoot.
Look to the north, Chosen, and the way will be open.
Brock flower and Xanderoot does appear in Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas has so many references to the classic Fallout game. So if you're familiar with that game, you'll recognize a lot of things from going back to the classic Fallout games. Fallout 3 doesn't do it too much. It just took the overall aesthetic and not much else. Fallout New Vegas has a lot of references back to the classic Black Isles games because a lot of those Black Isles members went on to found and work at Obsidian. So there is a lot of context for why Fallout New Vegas is very much a spiritual successor in a way of classic Fallout games. So we have gotten a bit more healing powder. What we're going to do now is our health is quite low. We can use our healing powders if we want. We have quite a few of them. We have 6. We have a lot of healing items at our disposal. But we're actually gonna rest. Rest as long as you want in Fallout 2. We're gonna rest until healed and see what time of day that leads us to. We have full health points. Rest as much as you want in Fallout 2. I believe we've also rested enough so that our poison damage is completely gone from before. And okay, you can also pick up these little plant things, but I don't believe they're worth that much. Little plant spikes. I can press shift and we can actually see more on the floor. So here we go, we go into our inventory. An organic seed spike that the carnivorous plant spits at potential food or seed carriers. Aren't we all seed carriers? You can actually throw these for a bit of damage and they have some range. I don't believe they're worth a lot. Let's talk to this man. It's good to see you again, Chosen One. How may I help you? Hello Cameron, ready for another fight? Can I fight him again? You have the tongue of pure silver, Chosen One. Your skill with words will open many doors for you. Ha, good day to you, Cameron. Fallout 2 has some clever writing in it. I do enjoy this game quite a bit. Let us talk to Cameron once again. I'd like to visit the temple. Take the path to my left, Chosen One. It will lead to the temple proper. The cave entrance behind me will return you to the lance chamber. Interesting. And we can go back to the temple if you want. You can fight some of the creatures there if you want to go back and get more stuff. Greetings, Chosen. It is good to see you. How may I serve you? Thought I'd say hello. I'll be leaving on my quest soon. May the spirits of our ancestors protect you, Chosen One. I wish you well on your journey. You can run past them and go back to the temple if you really want to, I guess, to get some more experience from those enemies if you want. But let's actually check our character. We're not very close to the next level. We have 1700 experience at the moment. We need 3000 to get to level 3, but we might be able to pick a perk actually if we get to the next level. Which we should be able to after 3 levels we get a perk, unless you pick the trait that affects that. But let's actually explore around the village because we can get a few side quests and there's a few things I want to do in this village before we set out on our quest. Now we're not going to get a gun in this village, so we're going to be playing here for a little bit more. Let's talk to this female villager. How you doing? Hello, I hear you are the Chosen One. Now perhaps our village can be saved. Listen, there's not many people here. Yeah, I'm the Chosen One. Can you tell me where I can find more healing powder? Go see Hakunin in the north corner of the village. He can help you. One more question, if I may. What can you tell me of the traders who trade with us? They come to our village from the east, but their goods are poor. Thank you and goodbye. So the traders come from the east. That is where Clamus is, where we will find Vic more than likely. So that's where we need to be heading. Cousin, I'm glad to see you. I need your help. Oh yeah, we see our young cousin Nagor. I didn't like saying that. That was a bit dodgy. You don't see his dog Smoke anywhere, so our cousin is missing his dog. Sorry. I don't have the time. I will help him. His dog's probably missing. What do you need our help with? Smoke ran off into the hunting ground and hasn't come back, and now Morlis won't let me go find him. She says it's too dangerous and he's just a dog, but I was going to go anyway. But you're here and you could do it and I wouldn't get in trouble. But what if I die? I'm the chosen one. Well, if I die, then I'm not really the chosen one, am I? Sure, but where are the hunting grounds? What, you get hit in the head with a rock on the far side of Kunan's tent, north of the village. I'll be back with him soon. So we have to go and find the dog. Now the dog is actually in a pretty precarious little position where we're going to need to fight geckos, and geckos are kind of tough. So we might actually try and get an improvement to our weapon. There's actually another little plant there. Do I have like a full inventory? No. I guess he just kept spitting out little plant spikes that they all kind of piled up on the floor. We're actually going to try and find a better weapon to take on those geckos before we go to the hunting grounds. Hello. Hello, I hear you're the chosen one. You just have the same generic dialogue as the other girl. Now, and I believe, let's see what is down here. Did I search here? I believe I searched here, right? All the items we need, I believe I did. I searched here quite a bit. Now, we are going to explore this little tent first. There's nothing inside here. What about inside this pot? Ooh, there's $100 dues. I've just stolen money. Hello, who is this? You see Morlis, one of your aunts, the one who never liked you. Why do you bother me, nephew? Can't you see I'm busy? She's a bit of a bitch. So let's actually travel down south to the village. We can't travel down this way. Now here is a green little transition. Green means you go to the next area of this map. If this transition square is brown colored, that means you go to your world map and you don't transition to the next area of the screen. But we'll see that in a moment. Hello. Just looking around so you can talk to all these people. Now you do want to talk to everyone to get the most out of dialogue and what they might have in store. So let's keep searching all these things. There's a little pot you can search absolutely everything. Not much to really lose here still. And here is the bridge that will lead us out of the village. Now here is more kind of a light brown coded little tile set, which means we will transition out of our village into the world map. But we won't worry about that for the moment. Let's talk to our nice little man here. The bridge guard. Hello, chosen one, off to find the geck. Yes, but before I go, I would like to answer some questions. No, not yet, I'm just looking around. Yes, but I was wondering about your spear. It looks a little different. My father taught me how to make stronger blades than most. Get me a piece of flint and I'll fix your spear too. You'll need it in the wilderness. Where will I get some of this flint? They say your aunt Morlis has been hoarding a piece. She's so ill-tempered, I don't think anyone's asked her. Of course, the witch will want something in return. Thanks. Good. So we can actually upgrade our spear with a bit of flint, which will make it do more damage, which we want. So we'll get a bit of flint. Our aunt has it. She was the pretty annoying woman that was standing right here. Let's make a save before we interact with her. What is it? You know, I have a lot to do. Minix said what? Out with a child that, you might have some flint. We're a little bit awkward with this aunt because she's a bit of a meanie. I do. You want some, is that it? Well, yeah. Well, I want 3 doses of healing powder. Bad times are coming and I'm going to be ready. Bring them to me and you can add the flint. Now get to it. Yes, ma'am. Aunt Morlis, I have 3 right here. Now, we do have quite a bit of healing powder. We do have a bit of a surplus of healing powder because I didn't really need too much of it in the introduction. Also, another thing you can do in this quest, you don't have to give her the healing powder. You can actually put your stealth skills to the test here if you want, and maybe click on her with your sneaking and steal skill and see what options are before you there. So there's multiple options of actually getting the flint if you want, but I don't have much steal skill at the moment. We're actually just going to give her the powder because I have so many. Here's the flint now, off with you. I don't have time for gossip. Thank you, auntie. We've gotten the flint. A stone used to sharpen weapons weighs 2 pounds, so let's actually go to our little man down the map. So how many healing powders do we have? We have 3 left, but we can also make more healing powder if we find the right ingredients. Hello, Minoc. Did you talk your aunt out of her flint? Yes, I have some rice here. It's a good piece. Give me your spear. Here you go. Now put the pieces like so. Okay. Here is your new spear. Thank you, my friend. This will help a lot. So now we have a sharpened spear. A razor tip polearm. The shaft is wooden and the ship is sharpened steel. So we have a spear which does 4 to 15 damage, which is better than the usual 3 to 13. We now have a spear that does quite a bit more damage, so that is pretty handy if you're using melee weapons early in the game. We now have a better weapon. So we're actually going to use this better weapon to attack the geckos that we're going to find. So let's go save the dog, Smokey, who is up here. Yeah, let's make a main save before we fight the geckos, because these guys could be quite difficult. They are quite difficult enemies to be facing. So there's the geckos, you can see them. There's things like fire geckos later down the line in the game that can get pretty difficult to fight. There's golden geckos, and you can skin them for their pelts if you learn the ability to do that. But if we press the shift key, we can see some things are highlighted, like the Brock flower, and there's Xander root. So here is a good way to get some healing powder if you need healing items. We might actually put a healing powder into our inventory, and since the geckos are quite strong enemies, they have quite a bit of hit points, we're gonna test out our sharpened spear and see how we do. There's a chance we could die here. We can also hear a barking dog, and the barking dog is up here past this little bridge with some irradiated stuff around it, but we'll worry about that in a moment. Now a gecko has spotted us, so let's let him walk towards us. Now, if you're doing this encounter yourself, do not let the geckos gang up on you. If you get more than one gecko chasing you here, you are dead. We can trust for the gecko that is 35 hit chance, not a very high hit chance to hit the gecko. But our spear is pretty powerful, so if you actually hit them, it does quite a bit of damage. But yeah, again, the geckos do a lot of damage. So what I'm going to do is we're going to back up a little bit. We're going to go back 2 points, so he gets less action points to hit us with. 1, 2, we're going to back up again. 8 hit points. Not doing too badly here. Not doing too terribly. Not very high chance to hit. But hit him twice. Back up. Hit him again. Back up. Now if I look in our details, he is almost dead. So we're not doing too badly here. And he has done 1 critical hit, which isn't really that critical, but the bruise will look nice, and maybe the scars will make good party talk. So he's done a critical hit, but it didn't do much damage. I see a tree, don't I just? Now keep backing up and try not to lure any more geckos that are close to you. Now this fella should be almost dead at this point. And he's doing some good damage. He's doing 5 hit points, they did 4. They're doing good damage, don't let them sneak up on you. Now if I search the gecko, he's not going to have much on him. You are going to be able to skin geckos down the line to get their pelts, but that is not an ability we learn here. Now what I actually want to do is, can I actually rest? Can we rest here? I can rest here. Okay. Let's rest, get our health up. Okay, remember this little healing race? The higher that is, the more you heal as you're resting. Not the biggest deal in the world, but it does quicken up the time. There is Smokey the dog. Let us actually defeat the geckos in the way of Smokey the dog. I can't actually go around the trees, I have to follow the path. Okay, let's fight you. Do you want to fight me? Am I not a danger to you? I guess he doesn't care. You know what, now if I'm not a danger to you, I will just pick the flowers here. Again, if you're not using the healing powder to heal, you can just sell it down the line, so this is actually useful stuff to pick up. I actually can't see, sometimes items are obfuscated by objects in front of them, which means you actually can't pick it up, which is a very annoying mechanic in Fallout. I see nothing out of the ordinary. Let me pick up my flower. I actually can't pick it up. Sometimes you have to be like so direct. Yeah, you just have to be pixel perfect. Oh, there we go. See, for like a split second. You have to be so precise. It is kind of annoying, but keep trying. See, I'm trying now with this one, but this one might be just too annoying to try and get. Do you want to kill me if you see me? The geckos actually aren't aggroing with me, huh? You can go into combat and attack them if you want, but you know what now? I won't attack them unless they attack me. Here's a nice flower out in the open. We can pick up this one. Here's another flower. We can pick up this one. Do you want to attack me, pal? Huh, they're actually leaving me alone. Okay, let's try and get her doggy, pal. These fellas are going to leave us alone. Let's get more Brock flower. Now be careful there. There's some irradiative reactive goo on the ground. If you go through that, it can actually damage you. And I believe if you stand in it too long, it can do radiation damage, which is not what you want. That kills you. And these geckos are leaving me alone. That's interesting. Huh, I'm not sure why. There we go. I got hit by the goo and it burns. Woof woof, we have gotten Smoke to follow us. Let's get out of here, Smoke. Don't attack me, geckos. Let me lead the doggy out of here. Will they attack me with Smoke in my party, kind of? Now, he's not technically a companion. But if we get into combat, he might help us out. Okay, the geckos are actually going to leave us alone. Huh. Come on, Smoke. Make sure he's still following you. Here we go, I got your doggy. I only needed to kill 1 gecko, oddly enough. You found Smoke, thanks Smoke, you're a bad dog, you're welcome, goodbye. We have gotten some experience. Now in these games, even if you're not getting money all the time, experience is a very good reward to get. Let's rest until healed. Now what we might do, I might actually try and fight those geckos until we get another level, because I want to put more points into our melee skill. Let's look at our character screen. Yeah, we still have quite a bit of experience to go to get to our next level, but if I take out these geckos, let's actually wait until morning, just so we have a bit more visibility. Let's try and get one more level before we leave for Klamath. And I believe this level will be the last level where I'll be putting skills into melee weapons for the moment. And we'll just kind of have to get by. And then after the next level, we will be putting skills into our gun skill, because we should hopefully be encountering a weapon. Let's just attack these geckos. It's interesting they're leaving me alone. Does anyone know why? They're usually very aggroed on me. Oh god, now there's two of them. This could be a challenge. Let's see if we can take on two geckos. If they're getting too difficult and if I'm missing too much, I might switch to my kick. See, we could die here if I'm being stupid. Oh, I got a critical. 13 points of damage, tearing off some of its slimy skin. Let's actually back up more over here and let him run towards me. I don't have to waste the extra points walking towards him, because I knocked him away. And I killed him. Okay. We're actually doing great here. I'm doing pretty well in Fallout 2. Maybe I'm actually qualified to make a beginner's guide about this game. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think I'm doing too terribly. I want to see how much experience I get for killing these guys. Please tell me it's more than 100 experience for killing 2 of you. And I got you dead. 110 experience. I don't know if that'll be enough to level up. What I'm doing right now is kind of stupid. I'm right-clicking on my spear to reload it. I don't have a gun equipped. That is just muscle memory, because I usually don't use melee weapons quite often, but I tried to reload my spear. Now there's 3 geckos here. I want to see if I can defeat enough to get a level, but I don't want to aggro all 3 of them at once. I hear the dog. Did the dog run back out here? No, it's just an ambient dog in the background. Let's actually fight the gecko up here. So there's 3 geckos here as well. Let's fight you. Oh no, so you're aggroing on me. Okay. Probably because I attacked your friend. Don't throw your spear, you bollock! I did not mean to throw my spear. Can I load? Oh no, my load is back here. I'm gonna have to... That was my bad. Whoops. I'm gonna have to pick up the spear. I'll have to walk towards it. Okay, I get another turn. He's not gonna attack me. Pick up your spear. Go into your inventory. That's gonna use so many of my turns, but now we have our spear back. Don't throw your spear, you bollocks. Thrust us. We are in thrust mode. Again, we're just fighting just to get some experience. I want to make sure we're properly leveled and can take on the danger before us. Now that gecko is doing quite a bit of damage to us. And since we have a bit of range, we actually do get to hit this gecko from quite far away. If we had a knife, we wouldn't be able to hit him from that far away. So range is kind of handy in this game. It is something to be aware of. Doing good damage to you. You must be almost dead. Yeah, he's dead now. So we get 60 experience for each gecko. I don't think we'll get close to a level, but we might as well take out as many as we can. Actually, is it worth it? We might just move along. Yeah, we've 2,000 experience. Killing these geckos isn't giving me much benefit at the moment. Let's just move along. We don't need to hang around here. I know I can kill them, but grinding on them is not as interesting for the video. We don't need to do this. Let's go about on our quest. We're just going to go to the exit of this village, which is down by the bridge. Also, at night you do get a little light around yourself, so that's a handy little system to have. Also, if the screen is a little bit too small for you at the moment, if you have a wider monitor, absolutely increase the screen resolution. I do play with a wider screen resolution, so you're not like looking all around the map. You can move around a lot quicker and easier with a wider resolution. I have it more up close now, so it's easier to watch on mobile, and it's better for a beginner, but you know, when you're going to the world map in this game, always make a save. I have saves here called... Yeah, a travel save. I have a travel save for my older character. I'll just save over my old character, Violet. She was in the military base, wiping out super mutants. But have a travel save. Save over that. Have a save before you travel, because you can be soft locked. You can encounter enemies that are way too difficult for you. You can encounter some really dangerous enemies if you travel too far. Always have a save safely back at town. It's a good thing to have. Just be sure of it, okay? So now we are going to get started on traveling to the town of Klamath. Future Micky here. We're not actually at the map screen. Fun thing about Fallout 2 on Windows 11, when you go to the map screen, the game can actually crash and freeze and bug, and I'm pretty certain it's a Windows 11 issue. I didn't have these problems on Windows 10 at all. But what I had to do is go and install the Fallout 2 unofficial patch, which I will link down below. You just pointed to where Fallout 2 is installed in your data directory, all that good stuff on your Steam or GOG. You just install it. I'll link it down below. It should hopefully make the map screen work. And yes, it does. It doesn't crash. It's still a little bit slow, but whatever. Okay, back into the video. Because Micky was a little annoyed trying to figure this out. Now, if you die at this point while fast traveling around, going through random encounters, that's okay, that's going to happen. That doesn't mean you're bad at the game or anything like that. There are going to be some difficult encounters, but we're going to try and make our way to Klamath and hope we don't encounter any difficult enemies along the way. Now, some people do like going around the world map here, doing random encounters, looking for people that are like fighting each other, and then they take all the loot and they can sell it for lots of money and they can get guns and weapons and all that stuff. You can do that if you want. I kind of like doing the questing in towns and things like that to get my equipment. So that is an option for you if it's there. And welcome to one of the first big towns settlements, I guess, of the game. Here is Klamath. It's not much to write home about, but it is a town nonetheless. Now we are going to play a little bit casually here. I do want to get our first proper weapon, but we're going to do a couple of quests here just so you're once again familiar with Fallout 2 and how it works and you're not completely lost when you get to a new town. So we're going to wander around. There's a nice little notice here. There's a notice board we can use. There are several things here, some ads, job notices, and even a drawing. It looks as though some of these have been here for a while. I guess I'll take a closer look at that drawing, a crude drawing of what looks like Brahmin with a big X through it and the word Thor scrawled underneath. I'll take a look at another notice. What's this about booze? Booze got your attention, didn't I? Bum leg prevents business. Need help refueling still. Speedy and reliable type needed. See Whiskey Bob over at Moz. Yeah, so you can get a bunch of information about the town. Something about rats. Too many damn rats in Trapper Town. Come get them all and you can eat slim. So there are a bunch of quests. Look like someone's gone missing. Missing person. Have you seen Smiley the Trapper? Smiley's about 6 feet tall, clean and housebroken. Mostly disappeared up north and I kinda miss him. That's all we need for now. So let's talk to this nice little individual here. You see a very large man covered in dust with a small smile and a blank look in his face. Meet Thor. Nice to meet you, Thor. Anything interesting going on around lately? Bugmen take moo-moos at night. Thor scared. Help, Thor. Sure, Thor. I can help you guard the barman. I can't. Shaking head at Thor. Help you with that. Goodbye. We'll help out Thor. He seems like a nice little fella. Upstanding member of his community. You help Thor. Moo-moos field points east here. Now, yes, I'll help you guard the barman. Now, Thor. And here is immediately a fight with some rat scorpions. I should be able to take him out easy with my updated spear. So apparently installing the Fallout restoration patch has added like more action points to my razor. I believe these action points are here because you gain extra action points with like a perk, so don't worry too much about this. I'm pretty confused by it either, but I just installed the patch to make sure this game runs fine. So we are still dealing with original Fallout 2. I didn't add any of like the cut quests or anything like that, which is something you can do in Fallout 2 if you want, but yeah, we just did an unofficial patch. It should make the game run a little bit more smoother on modern systems. Thank you, Windows 11. I love you so much. I don't know if this is the type of video I should be doing rants in, but Windows 11 has only been causing me issues ever since I upgraded to it. My Photoshop doesn't work as well. I've been having compatibility issues. It's a feckin' nightmare. Now they want to like turn off security updates for Windows 10 soon. Isn't that great? Thanks, Microsoft. Anyway, we have been poisoned and we're going to fight rat scorpions. I'm not too concerned about poison. We should be alright. Let me back up actually a little bit. These rat scorpions are actually doing big damage to me. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Run back 2 spots. We're probably going to build up quite a bit of poison by fighting these rat scorpions the way they're hitting us here. Yeah, they are poisoning me more and more. Now, we do have our healing powder, but I don't particularly want to use it because I don't want to lower my perception during this fight. So we are going to save in our combat save because I am poisoned and it's a bit of a risky save to be doing. I'll just try and defeat this rat scorpion now. Come here, Budsy. There we go, got a critical hit on him for 14 damage, and I believe we have taken out all of the rat scorpions in the area, and we can go back to Thor. We saved them, pal. Bug's dead, Moo safe, Thor, thank you. There was like fellas here looking over this quest line. There is something about a conspiracy. There's like guys trying to set up Thor, I believe. But I kind of forget the outcome of this quest. I don't do it too often, but I do help out Thor with the rat scorpions. But before you take on the rat scorpions, there's 2 fellas you can talk to here. I didn't know they disappear after you kill the rat scorpions. And in fact, you find a bit of evidence, I think. Pincers are hollowed out and have a strap of a broken buckle at the end. There's a reason those are there, I think, for a bit of investigation with this quest. But yeah, those guys are available to talk to. We have meat jerky. If I eat this meat jerky, does it actually restore my health? I was curious about that earlier. Let's find out together. That does nothing. What if I do this? That does nothing. Can you just not eat the jerky? The smoked and dried chunks of beast flesh remain chewy, licious, and even somewhat nutritious for years and years and years and years and years. Okay, well, can I eat the radiated fruit? Yeah, you got 2 hit points from that, so you do get some health from the stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna try and rest and see if the poison kills us. We're gonna keep an eye on our health. If our health starts to go down, that is the poison doing damage, but we're healing faster than the poison, so the poison should disappear. I'm getting radiation damage. What am I getting rats from? I feel better. You feel very nauseous. I'm irradiated, apparently. I'm irradiated on poison. I know I'm poisoned, but what's giving me radiation damage? Maybe there was something around this area that was radiation? Let's try and rest again. Take damage from poison, but you feel better. Okay, so I'm not as poisoned. I don't think I'm poisoned anymore, but I'm irradiated somehow. Okay, well, we'll deal with that when we deal with this, I guess. You gain 250 experience, and we've actually gained karma. I forgot Fallout 2 as a karma system. If you go into our character screen here, we do have a reputation system. It's pretty similar to the one in Fallout New Vegas. If you're familiar with that, we've gotten 50 karma, which is positive karma. In Arroyo, we are idolized because we're pretty much the chosen one, and we've also helped out people with their problems and their woes in Arroyo. And in Klamath, we are accepted for helping out Thor. Although you're not greeted with open arms, most people in the area will at least nod an acknowledgement when you meet. You fit in as well as most. Well, isn't that nice and dandy indeed? What I actually want to do here is do a bit of buying and selling if we can. My name's Maina Buckner. I take care of trading and drinks here. I don't tolerate any tribals messing our family's place up, so you just better watch your step here or you'll end up like Sulik. Yeah, they're not very nice to tribals in this game. So they can immediately clock us as a tribal. I guess we look pretty dirty in our vault suit. I'm also walking around with a spear, so hey. But we are going to try and barter with her for the time being. She does have a first aid kit, which is pretty handy if you want to invest in the first aid skill. This improves your chances of successfully using your first aid. She has stim packs. Now, stim packs in this game can be pretty expensive. That's $453 dues. They also have leather armor, which would not be a bad guess to have at the moment, a bit of protection. But yeah, we have a few things to sell. We don't have like too much to sell at the moment, but getting a stim pack or two might not be a bad call. Or even just selling enough to get some leather armor. So let's see how much you take rat scorpion tails for. $20 dues each. So I'm going to sell all like the Xander roots. I don't really need much healing powder anymore. When you're out of the Arroyo settlement, you should be dealing with stim packs and all that stuff. Now I'm going to keep those claws on us in case we need it. Yeah, so I'm not getting a lot of money from this exchange. We're not going to be able to buy leather armor or anything for the time being, or even any stim packs. But you know what? We'll look around. I actually do have some questions for you. Have you ever heard of something called a Garden of Eden creation kit? Questions, so we'll get on with it. Then talking to you doesn't get my work any closer to being finished. The only way I know to create a Garden of Eden is through plain old hard work, but that's something you tribals just don't seem to understand. This girl is a bitch, but I guess that's the difference between us civilized folk and yourselves. They call this civilized living. I guess, tell me about something else. Gee, I guess I have a lot to learn from you folks. I'd like to be civilized too someday. Civilized? You think you're civilized because you live in the burnt out ruins of a before time town? Tell me something else. I'll say that to her. Let's just get going for now. I believe actually I can get a quest from this red, older, scraggly bearded man. Howdy stranger, my name's Whiskey Bobs. What's yours? My name's Micky. Nice to meet you, Whiskey Bob. Always nice to find another drinking buddy. Wanna buy me a drink? Talking always makes me thirsty. With a nickname like yours, Whiskey Bob, maybe you should be providing the drinks. Don't want you as my drinking partner. Oh no, is he no, not gonna deal with me anymore? Back to see Whiskey Bob, ready to talk about drinks and business and such like. You know, I'll buy him a drink. Sure, maybe that'll get his jaws a-flapping. Thanks for the drink, partner. Now that my whistle's wet, I feel I can share a little problem I have. Hey, maybe you can help out. Well, I'm pretty busy. How can I help you out? If it won't take too long, I guess I can help you for a price, of course. Now then, it's probably not going to take you too long, and it's not too dangerous at all, probably. You want to hear about this or not? Okay, sure. Go ahead. Well, you see, I have a little side business that I need some help attending to. I have a moonshine still outside of town that needs to be fueled up every so often since a gecko done bit my leg. I can't hobble out to it before it runs out of fuel. If I tell you where it is, would you refuel it for me? It's worth 50 salary dues to me. That doesn't seem so bad. Tell me more. All you have to do is find a little shack just out of town. Go inside and dump some firewood into the still, then come back here and I'll give you your money. But it needs to be done within the next day or my batch of hooch will go bad. Sounds pretty easy. I'll do it. You'll do it? Great. Remember, you gotta do it soon or my hooch will go bad. Thanks a heap. See you back here soon. No problem, Bob. I'll see you in a day. So we are a little bit timed on this, so we do have to help out Whiskey Bob as soon as possible. The nice thing actually about this unofficial patch, I believe, is that you can actually have multiple characters now with different saves. That's actually a very, very, very nice feature. I like that quite a bit. So we are going to go south of town. Is there anything inside here? I did want to show off this quest just so you can see how, like, using items from your inventory. Ooh, we actually have a magazine here. Guns and bullets. A gun rag. What am I going to do with a gun rag? A magazine devoted to the practical use of firearms and the occasional biased review. And we have a Nuka-Cola. It's a very blue bottle. A bottle of Nuka-Cola, the flavoured soft drink of the post-nuclear world. Warm and flat. Modern Bethesda really loves absolutely worshipping Nuka-Cola, whereas in these games it was just a soft drink and that was kind of it. Anyway, let's use guns and bullets. Now, skill magazines in this game are exceptionally useful. We'll actually check our small guns. It's 55 at the moment. If we use this magazine, it will put it up by quite a bit. There is a limit to how much skill you can get from skill books. Like if you're reading like 50 in one go, it can only go so high. There's only so much information you can learn from a magazine, but we got quite a bit of skills from that book. Our small gun skills is now nothing to scoff at. That is a very useful thing to get. So that's why with things like science and repair, I wouldn't worry too much about getting those up high at the very beginning, because you can find skill books in places like Vault City later on in the game, and that can be a pretty useful boon for getting those skills up. So bear that in mind. There's also a footlocker here. I'm just stealing from all these townspeople. There's a flower. It's a beautiful flower. I don't know if that flower is needed for a quest, but we will see. Anyway. Okay, now there are geckos around this area. Now when I kill these geckos, I won't be able to skin them for their pelts, because there is a quest reward you get for that by helping out a trapper who has gone missing. I'll just take out the geckos for now. Do you want to run towards me, pal? I don't want to particularly use my action points. Okay, it's going to be pretty hard to hit this fella, boss. We'll try what we can. We can't wait around here too often to increase our health, because like we've just been told, we have a day to finish this off. And a day can go by kind of quick in Fallout if you're resting a lot to increase your health, so be aware of that. And we've killed one gecko. So let us go to the still, which should be in this little house here. Okay, we're going to be fighting two geckos at once, but you know what now? I think we're strong enough. I think we can take it, or at least we can try. Okay, we got a nice little critical hit there on the gecko, and I hit the wrong fella, but, you know, we're getting hits on both these fellas, so not too annoyed by that. There we go, you're going down. Can't end combat because we're still in combat with this fella, so just end your turn. You can also press the spacebar on your keyboard, actually, to end your turn in combat. It's a very handy hotkey. You'll see me pressing that every now and again, like right now. And there we go. Now we only have 11 health points left. We're not doing too well, so I'm gonna save in my combat save just to be safe with these things, and let's see if we can go inside the still here without alerting these geckos. I would like to do. Don't run too far, you bollocks, you'll get the geckos after you. Now there should be some wood around here. Here is some booze. Did the guy actually give me the wood I need to put in? Okay, so the wood is actually here. Okay. And there's some booze on the floor. So I wanted to do this quest just to show you how to use items in your inventory. So we have firewood, we need to use it on the still. It is in our inventory the way it is now. I believe the way you do this is you right click and you go into the bag icon, click on the firewood. Boom! It sounds as though the hooch is distilling nicely. You gain 100 experience for refueling the still, and we've gained 10 karma. I believe it's actually the unofficial patch which is telling us that we're getting karma. I don't believe that was a base game Fallout 2 thing. But it is nice to get that as an indicator. I'm going to run away from battle now. We're going to run away from the geckos. I do not need to fight them right now particularly. We're low on health, so I'm just going to run away from these guys. And we're going to heal back in town. Pip-Boy, rest until healed. Now I do want to check if we're close to a level, because if we are, I might actually... wait. I think I healed the whole day, but we should be fine going back to this fella, because we did, we put the firewood in the still. Well, thanks for refueling my still. Here's your 50. Got any questions? Nope, that's all, Bob. Thank you. I'll be seeing you around. Are we close to a level? We are stupid close. We just need to kill one more enemy. I do want to do that just so I can put more skill into my melee weapons, because we might need that coming up, because our sharpened spear does a decent bit of damage. I would like to increase my hit chance with it. Now, here's a golden gecko. They're kind of hard fuckers, but we'll try this fella. 34% chance to hit. That is nothing. That is not very good. Golden geckos can be a difficult foe, so definitely be careful. See, he's doing a lot of damage to me. I might actually die to this guy. If I do, well then. Did I actually get close to killing you? He's severely wounded. I guess I could run back and use some healing powder if I survive this. Let's actually try. Okay. My perception is going to be lowered. Okay, now what if I go to my legs, actually? That might be better. I have a slightly better chance to hit you with my leg. Not by much, but it still does. There you go, I got 4 hit points on you. I think I might go back to my spear just for the sake of doing some big damage on him if I can actually hit him. Yeah, see, this fight might be a little bit beyond our means. They are a tough enemy. Please tell me that killed him. Hey, we won! And we got a level. Now, we're actually able to pick a perk. Ooh, interesting, interesting. We do get quite a bit of perks here that we can take. And, wait, there it is, the Karma Sutra Master. When it comes to pleasing sexually, you wrote the book. Isn't that a nice illustration? Bonus, hand-to-hand, damage experienced and unarmored combat gives you an edge when it comes to damage. You cause 2 points of damage by hand-to-hand and melee attacks for each level of this perk. That is quite a bit of a boost, your hand-to-hand. There is comprehension. You pay much closer attention to smaller details when reading. You gain 50% more skills points when reading books. Faster healing, you get more healing rates. Here and now, you immediately gain another experience level. And there's the pleasing one. Quick pockets. Accessing your inventory only costs 2 action points instead of 4. I actually do recommend this one. This one is a pretty decent little perk. You've learned to increase your dialogue options without understanding what you're even talking about. Each level of this perk will increase your intelligence by 1 up to 10 for the purposes of dialogue only. Stonewall, you're less likely to be knocked down. Pack Mule, this is your carry weight, 50 pounds of equipment, that's not bad. Swift Learner, as each level gives you an additional 5% bonus whenever you earn experience points. This is best taken early. That's actually not a bad one to go for. You do get more experience points with Swift Learner. We might go with Swift Learner for now, just because it's a good one to take early, more experience points. Why not? Anyway, where's my melee weapon skill? Do we need anything else? Lockpick and stuff like that might not be bad ones to start posting up about repair and science maybe if it comes to us, but mainly for the moment, I just want melee. Okay, we're a little bit more proficient with our melee weapon, so, you know. What I did want to do actually is there is an isolated little shack up here, and it says Vic's. Vic was the trader in Clamus we were supposed to find, so let's actually search through his little shack here. Here's a dresser. There is a bunch of Nuka-Cola and some booze and some beer, and there is Vault 13 flask. You only just need 1 Vault 13 flask. It does help with hydration. The relic of the vault was probably used to contain some sacred sacrament. The holy things emblazoned on the side of this precious link to your people's past and hopeful future. There's also a deck of tragic cards. For a collectible card game, looks like could be an expensive hobby if you got hooked. It's tragic to gathering, isn't it? And those cards are actually worth quite a bit. Now, there is a locked door here. I don't know if I had lockpick skill to actually open it. Oh no, it's open. Okay, I didn't need to lockpick it, but there is another bookshelf back here. I thought that door would have been locked, but we do have a stim pack, a pipe rifle. It is a single shot rifle, some ammo, and a radio. The handheld radio doesn't work, but it looks like it's still in pretty good condition. Some of its parts could probably be salvaged for use in other radios, so that's a handy little item to have. Now, we do have our gun. I could just end the video now being like, look, we have a gun, we have a weapon, but the one-shot rifle isn't that great of a gun. I would actually recommend you stick with your melee weapons for now, because you have to reload that rifle once every shot, and it's kinda crappy. So let's see if I can actually sell some of this stuff, and maybe even get... Like, I would like a bit of heavy armor if we can get it. Is the radio worth a bit? It's worth 50 caps. Is the rifle worth a bit? It's worth 200 caps. What about the cards? What about the booze? One thing I never actually showed you in the barter system in Fallout 2, which I will show you now in a second, you can actually trade items for their value without money. You see, the fact that I have no money on the table right now, I've not offered her any money. This is the worst of all the items. You can actually trade items for other items as long as you're matching the amount they're worth. So you don't have to trade with just money. You can trade with items, which is a handy little feature. I wish other Fallout games had this. It makes a lot of sense in the post-apocalyptic world, but it is there. And you can also add money on top. Say if you wanted to eventually buy, we just had enough to buy the first aid kit. Would you look at that? That's lucky. But I don't want to buy the first aid kit. I don't particularly want this. I will actually sell some of this loot just to give myself some bit of money. You can have the spear that I'm not using. Okay, so that's 196 is the worth. So if we go down here, actually you don't have 196. I might take back something. Yeah, I'll just take 146. Why not? 146, not 7, 6. There we go. We have a bit of money. That's a good trade. I wouldn't mind getting some leather armor at some point, so we're going to save our money until we do. Now, one thing I wanted to check, I do have those rad scorpion claws. Can I talk to the brothers here? Oh, we can lose here. Is there any NPCs? Be careful if you're losing in towns. If people catch you, they will try to kill you. You know, it's not like Elder Scrolls. There's no prison system. It's martial law. Okay, so this door is locked. I don't think I have the lockpicking ability, but I am going to quick save and see if you can open it. My lockpicking skill is very low, so I doubt it. You failed to pick the lock. You can keep trying now. It's not saying it's impossible. Your lack of skill is jammed on this door. Yeah, so yeah, jammed the door. We're going to try one more time and see if we can actually get lucky. But our lack of skill does jam the door lock. Your lack of skill has jammed the door. Okay, so obviously my lockpicking skill isn't really up to snuff. I've been kind of focusing on my defensive skills for the moment, but as you're leveling up and you have the points to spend, definitely do put points into lockpick. Okay, there is a lot of dead fellas here. This place is associated with the Rad Scorpion quest we did with Thor, but they're not spawning at the moment. Sometimes these Fallout quests can be a little bit weird, but we didn't do that quest the most effectively. But whatever, we cleared out the Rad Scorpions, we helped Thor. But someone might have been luring the Rad Scorpions there to deal with Thor. Ooh, anyway, I'm losing all of this stuff. I don't think there's anything on these corpses. He looks dead, I imagine. So, and there's dead Brahmin and everything everywhere. It's a big mystery. Anyway, one place I want to go to now is, never mind that shite, one place I do want to go to now is the gecko bar over here, because if we go inside here, there is a handy little NPC we can talk to over here. A tall graying man with a tankard of beer. Well, it's just my educated opinion, but I can see by the way you moved it, you could do with a few pointers. Pointers? With what? About the sweet science, of course, the sporting art. Oh, the art you're talking about magic? Can you teach me magic spells? He grins broadly. Sure, and Begorra, I could teach you about the wee folk, leprechauns, brigands, banshees, and the like. Would you like that? That sounds great. Teach away, but teach me about the banshees. Talking to those around you. Did you hear that? I got myself a live one who wants to hear about fairies and wee goblins and such. Hoo ha ha, he doubles over in laughter. Here lads, have a drink on me. That's your ticket to the realm of the fae folk. Somehow I feel as though you're pulling my leg a bit. Well, maybe I am at that. Nevertheless, you were a bony good sport about it. Here's a beer on me for taking it. So, well, I do love the dialogue system in Fallout. Thanks. Now, what were you saying about the sweet science? Pugilism. The manly art of hand-to-hand combat. That's what I mean. Well, I guess I could use some help with that. Well, let's go outside and see what I can teach you. You see, it's all about getting your whole wee body to snap like a whip. Several sweaty hours later with a stranger. So you see what you were doing wrong then? Yes, I do. Thanks for taking the time to help me out, Mr. Sullivan. That was great. Let me give you 10 for some brew on me. It's the least I can do. No. I can nae take money from ye. It was my very own pleasure to teach what I know. You take darn good care of yourself now. You've got real potential. That's great. Let me ask you one thing though. Where'd you learn how to fight like that? That was a long time ago when I was a wee young lad and didn't have any sense in me thick head. A place called Reno. You keep your nose clean and stay away from the likes of that place. Can I actually ask him where it is? I didn't want to tell you, get on with it, just keep out of harm's way. So you won't tell us where Reno is, but that is kind of a late game area, so we won't worry too much about it. And we have gains. John Sullivan has helped you improve your melee and unarmed combat skills. Oh, he actually improves our melee weapon skill too, did he? I thought it was just unarmed. Ooh, that's handy. We have 150 experience gained. We gained a bunch of perception, but that was because we used a bunch of healing powder, which clouded our mind as it cleansed the buzzy. And we have gained 10 karma, I imagine, for trying to give John a bit of money for helping us. And yeah, our melee weapon skill is now 76. Unarmed is 86. That is pretty high for this point in the game. I want to rest until morning just to give ourselves a little bit of health, because our health is quite low. Your name's Thor. Oh, They're making fun of me, they're calling me Thor. The poor fella, poor Thor. Tribals get a bad run of it in this game, so let's see if I can actually steal from these places. I believe these might be locked. Ooh, they're not. I'm gonna close the door so these guys don't see me. I want to take some items here. Oh, there's money and booze. I'll take that. This door might be locked. Yes, it is. My lockpicking skill isn't very high, so I'm not going to bother with that. Okay, is this door locked? Ooh, this door is open. Anything inside here? Make sure there's no NPCs that can see us. And let's do a bit of looting. There's nothing inside here. Okay, well, we got some things out of it. Actually, can I go in here? Hey, we can. Anything here? Nope, nothing at all. I'm also pressing left shift every now and again to see if there's any items highlighted on the floor, because Fallouts can have some items hidden on the floor. Don't want some jerky. It's worth 5 each, you can have 2. Offer. That's a good trade. Alright. I don't have anything I need right now. Good. Bye. Okay. So I want to check over my inventory. We have some food, so I guess that can be a little bit of health if we need it. We have 1 stim pack, we have 2 healing powder. I'm going to see and wait 24 hours and see if she actually restocks on some money so I can sell some more stuff. Or I can just trade with a few items with her. Did you restock on money? Am I mistaken about when you restock your inventory? I seem to be. I'm not sure exactly when she restocks, but I trade enough for 1 stim, that's 500. I feel like the price has gone up for stim packs. It's probably because I insulted her a little bit when I was talking to her. Anyway, let's just go to the other side of town because I want to do the trapper quest of defeating rats and exploring a cool little dungeon. Of course, if you're playing this game for yourself, absolutely. There's a crash vertebrate with a lot of interesting stuff. There's a robot you can fight here, but that's not particularly what I want to encounter right now. I'll leave the exploration up to you, lads, when you want to play this game for yourself, which you better. I believe I want to go to this part of town. I like you, get away from me, kids. Get away, get away, get away. I don't like kids saying that. Yes, we're going to go to Trapper Town because there is some nice opportunities here, including our opportunity to get a proper first weapon. Nice day today, it's not bad. It's not bad. Wish I could figure out how to get that to Corvega. The rats are so hungry these days. Another few pelts and I'll be able to buy myself a bass. Well, it's nice to have ambitions in life. The kids are annoying me. The kids can actually steal from you in later towns, so definitely be aware. If you see kids standing in a doorway, they're going to steal from you. Hello, Klamath citizens. You look like Sulik. That's great. Now, where can I actually get this trapper quest? I believe it's actually in here I'm trying to get a quest for. Hello. I thought all you people put a bone through their nose. Oh god, they're so... they're so mean. I believe it's actually inside here, I believe, where we might get a quest. Can I join your tribe? No, you can't, kid. Fuck off. There's an NPC here who gives us a quest. I can run fast when I see this kid. It's so annoying. This pair of towns for professionals only. Okay. Oh, I believe it's you I talk to. Okay, let's talk to this man here. Hello there, friend. Nice to meet you. Nice of you to visit and all of us here. My name is Slim Pickers. Slim Pickers, like Slim Pickings, I guess. As I talk for Trapper Town. Hello there, Slim. My name's Micky. Why do you call this Trapper Town? Well, this here part of town is where all of us trappers live, and when we're not out trapping geckos. Only problem out the free digs are the rats on the north side, but we have most of the entrances to that part of the mall barricades pretty good. Did you ever go to the north side? We blocked off all entrances to the north side of town except one. I have a key to that one entrance just in case anyone needs to get over there for any reason. I can't figure out why anyone would want to, though I sure wouldn't. I'm interested in getting that key from you. You want the key to the north side of Trapper Town? What do you want that for? I'm an explorer. I want to explore everywhere I can. Besides, maybe there's a geck forgotten on the back shelf. I'm going to help you with your rat problem. Well, okay, here's the key. Just don't go stirring up too much trouble back there and make sure you close the door behind you. Thanks, Slim. I'll make sure the door is closed. Goodbye. Now we are going to make a main save because we are going to try and deal with his rat problem. Now, I don't know if he meant this door to close. It might be this door he means. But there we go. We can also put the key in our inventory like this to use it. I unlock the door. Now if I run ahead and close the door here. Boom, there we are. Let's be nice and actually close the door behind us. We are in the north part of Trapper Town. We are going to be encountering quite a few rats, so it is pretty handy that we increased our melee weapon skill quite a bit with the level up we had and also with the training we got from the nice little man who was talking about leprechauns and stuff. There are some lockers and things and bookshelves. You should absolutely be searching these as much as you can. Let's see if there's any useful items around. There's some stuff here on that table. We can loot it, but there's nothing here. What about the lockers? Come on, baby. There's some boots. Rubber boots are pretty handy. Look durable enough to keep out sludge, at least for a while. These boots you can equip to walk through irradiated puddles and surfaces, so keep that in mind. They're very useful to have on you. We also have some ammo. I'll take that. I'll take more boots. You don't need boots too often in this game, but it's not bad to have at the beginning. Alright, so here we go, deeper into Trapper Town. There's immediately a rat. Let's see what our chance to hit is. 71. Our chances have improved quite a bit. Always be saving when you're going into new encounters. I don't want you being soft-locked and hating on this game for it. And we are destroying these rats in fail swoops. Rats can still do a bit of damage to you, you know? They can nip away at you, especially if they're in groups. 3 damage here, 2 hit points there. It does add up to a little bit, so be careful of that. There is quite a big pileup of rats here. Surely this is enough. Surely we'll get a good reward for taking them out. At least I hope so. See, there's 4 rats attacking us now, so we do need to be careful here. I'm not too worried, but you know, it can creep up on you, the old health loss. So here we go, took him out right quick. And boom, we have killed the rat. Now, there's someone dead here. The remains of strong peasant. Well, he wasn't too strong, he was killed by rats, though to be fair, the rats are pretty strong now. There is a ladder leading down underneath. We're going to rest until we are healed before we take on this labyrinth down below, because there are some interesting things here down into the manhole. Now when you're down here, be sure to make use of pressing left shift to highlight objects so you can see them, even though these are just rocks. There are some other things later in this dungeon you do want to make notice of, and there's a knife on the floor. See, there's lots of nice stuff we can make use of. There's lots of nice stuff. I don't want you to be missing anything on the floor. Can we search through here? Yes, we can. And we're getting tons of ammo, so when we eventually get our first proper gun, we'll have plenty of ammo to be using. Again, melee weapon builds absolutely viable in this game. They're actually pretty powerful. Again, we're only taking out rats here for the moment. Not too difficult. Ooh, there is a crowbar on the floor. How much damage does a crowbar do compared to our spear? 3 to 13. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's about the same as a normal spear without it being upgraded, but you can sell that for a bit of money if you want. Again, there's just like small little rocks and stuff here. There was a knife over here, which I do want to pick up. More loot is very good. I would like to get enough loot down here to actually buy better armor for our character, because currently we have no defense other than some of the defense we get from our special skills. But that's not too much to depend on for a moment. Oh god, he knocked me down. The rats critically hit me. And if they do critical hits, it can actually lower your action points for your next turn, as you've seen. It's a little hard to make out with the expanded action points on the little menu there, but you know. So here we go, taking out all the rats, getting small amounts of experience. Not a lot of experience, because again, we're just killing rats. Now, I did want to get the knife from this person over here. Bye, rat. There's a dead body. It looks as though this person died very painfully. Well, that's not very nice to hear, is it? Give me your knife though. I'll take your weapon, and there's not much else here that we need. Let's continue onwards. Once again, highlighting my environment to see if there's anything on the floor. There is some range to this, so definitely wander around. See, I would have missed the sledgehammer. We can go Peter Gabriel style if we want with the sledgehammer. Are you taking the long way? Was your route obstructed? Anyway, if you want to go the long way, then I guess that's fine, Vault Dweller. Or Chosen One, rather. I like how you're a Chosen One character in this game and you're literally called the Chosen One. I think that's kind of funny. Again, just rats here, not too much of an issue. But your health is slowly dwindling, so definitely something to keep in mind. So here we go now. Give me the sledgehammer. This probably does decent damage. You could have a steam train. 12 pounds. A minimum strength of 6. Some weapons do actually have minimum strength requirements, like Fallout New Vegas. But the sledgehammer actually doesn't do much damage compared to the spear we have, so definitely, absolutely get the sharpened spear in Arroyo if you can. Very good items to be getting. Okay, now before we go into the lower floor of this dungeon, can I rest here? Some environments you can't rest in, which is kind of annoying, but some you can, like here. So be cautious and be sure to bring plenty of healing items with you, and let's go down a floor. Once again, I am clicking the highlight button. Now there are some tougher enemies besides rats down here. We will be encountering some mole rats, which are enemies you might be familiar with in Fallout 3, which they brought back for that, which was pretty cool. But in this game, they're a little bit more of a threat, so definitely bear that in mind. Yeah, see, I believe there's a mole rat right here, but we'll wait until he comes towards us. And it's a tough pig rat. They're not called mole rats, they're called pig rats. Oh, I killed him in the head. I critically hit him for 24 points. Seriously wounding the rat and knocking it around. I just said he was a really tough enemy and I killed him in a hit. But we got very lucky there because it was a very good critical hit. And they're doing 4 points of damage at once, which is quite a bit. Okay, I just killed him in 2 hits as well. See, we can't rest here, which is an issue. We can rest up above, but we can't rest down here, so definitely bear that in mind. There's no shame in going back up the ladder to rest at all. I am not going to judge you at all whatsoever. In fact, I would say it is the smart call to make, which I might actually do right now. We're doing well in terms of not dying this whole video. It'd be nice to get through this whole beginner tutorial without dying. Bang, close, let's go down the ladder. Okay, now there is a big mole rat right there. You see him, a large white mole rat. You see a large albino mole rat with an enlarged brain case. He is frothing at the mouth. That's going to be a tough enemy. Now we do have one stim pack to be able to deal with that one mole rat, but I actually want to go over here to where this bookcase is and search around here first before we fight a big albino mole rat, because that could be our first big tough enemy of the run. So yeah, there is more to this mine. It is quite an expensive mine, if anything, but I believe we'll deal with the floor down below before dealing with this. We'll try and fight the albino mole rat and see how that goes. We'll leave this mole rat run towards me. Ooh, what's this? A 10mm pistol right on this dead man right here, and this is a big reason why I wanted to explore down here. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, we have just gotten our first pistol. It holds 12 shots. Let's see how that is. Now we are going to need to reload the pistol when we get it, so when I switch to my pistol, it's actually fully reloaded. You'll see here this little bar, this green bar right here indicates how much ammo you have. It is full, so we have a full clip. If you want to reload your gun, you right click and then it'll say reload here if you need to reload, but I'll show you that in a moment. But for now, I'm actually going to use my spear. Actually, I should be using ranged, and then when the enemies get close to me, switch to my spear. Can I hit this rat from far away? Yes, I can. 83%. We have a decent little bit of pistol skill. Now, can I shoot this mole rat for 36%? I'll try it. I actually hit him. Okay. Rasgod. His name is Rasgod. Okay. I didn't know Asmongold was in this game. Oh, it's 11 hit points. Oh, God. And he's actually talking. Okay, 11 hit points. 90%. We're doing a lot of damage with this pistol. I might keep it. I could aim for his eyes. Let's try that. Feck it. To hit him in the eyes is 30%. Or the groin is 60. Let's go for the groin. Feck it. I'll shoot your willy. Okay, I killed the rat instead. Uh-oh. I'm going to run back. You can see this guy is doing quite a bit of damage to us. Let's try for the eyes. Probably going to miss. Yeah. No more vats. This rat god is doing a decent bit of damage to us. He's almost dead. Keep going. Our pistol is out of ammo at the moment, but like I said, right click until you get the reload. And reloading is going to cost some action points, so bear that in mind. And the rat god is dead. And we got experience for crushing our enemies. You gain 283 experience for killing the Keating rat. We got an extra 300. So yeah, there we go. Are we close to a level? We're not actually too far off from a level. And once again, we haven't died. Ooh, I'm actually doing okay. I did have to run away from combat up above with the geckos and all that, but you know what? I'm not too worried about that. You know, I made a strategic decision to run away. But let's rest until healed. Okay, we're going to do a bit more exploring here. We might as well feckin' see what else is down here. We killed the rat god, but is there any loot in his little chamber here that we can make use out of? There's still a few rats floating around. Is that a Xander root? I think there's a root growing out of the floor. Yes, it is. We don't particularly need Xander root anymore. You should be focusing on buying stim packs at this point. Ooh, we got a combat knife. That does more damage than the standard Knife is 3 to 13, and you do get more swings of a combat knife than you do a spear. So this might actually be pretty handy in the grand scheme of things. Let's go combat knife. Let's go with the knife for now. Let's see how we do. It does a little bit less damage, but we do get to have more hits with it. So not too much here though. There's a rat down here. We'll test out our combat knife on you, pal. There we go. 1 hit, 10 hit points. Very, very good. There's not much else here, so let's go up this ladder to the next section of this dungeon. More rats running around. We can take on rats. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, there are some giant mole rats here who could become an issue, but I don't think they detected us right here. I might try and shoot him from far away. Before we go into combat, absolutely reload your weapon because it doesn't cost action points when you're not in combat. He's running towards us. He is obfuscated from our vision, so I'm actually going to run back. Let him run towards me. Okay, rat. You want to die to a gun? Take out of rage. Oh, man, swing for some... The game's kind of glitched. It's on swing for my pistol. It shouldn't be on swing for a pistol. Okay, well, the game's kind of bugging out. I can't use my pistol for the moment. I guess we'll just do... melee? Okay, I've never seen that before. Mole rat's being hit for 10 damage. We're still doing good damage with the knife, so not too worried about not being able to use the pistol for right now. Down you go. Now if I unequip my gun and then equip it again, does it fix itself? Yeah, we're back to our normal pistol. Okay, strange little bug. I guess that happens. Older games. Can I rest here? We cannot rest here. We're just finding small bits of loot here. Here's a locker. Anything inside? Ooh, 2 stim packs. I'll take that. Stim packs are worth quite a bit of money. And there's another big mole rat right here. Alright, now run back. I can't hit you this far away yet because the knife doesn't have as much range as the spear, but we do get more hits, which is pretty nice. And down he goes. Again, we're not too far off from another level, which is pretty nice. Now, there are 2 mole rats here, so I'm actually going to use the stim pack. And there we go, 19 hit points, we got cured. Down in 2 hits. They don't have too much health that I remember. I thought they had a lot more health, but maybe I'm just mistaking them with the bigger mole rats and we're gaining a lot of experience. Let us keep exploring down here. Okay, now there is something down here. It is it a book? I believe it is. If your character is standing on top of something, you actually can't use... Oh, it's a tool! Tools are actually useful for your repair skill. It increases your chance of repairing things. So if you put it in your inventory, and then if you need to repair like an air generator or something, you can use this on it and it improves your chances of it. So tools are useful to have. They're also worth quite a bit of money if you want to sell it. If you don't need it for your repair skill is too high or whatever, you know. Okay. Here is a shelf. There is another little mole rat here. I'm going to keep using my melee weapons to take out these fellas, because we're doing well with it. We can also save on ammo. Boom! We are taking them out very effectively. And another 100 experience. Now we do get a big bit of dynamite here. High explosive consisting of nitroglycerin mixed with an absorbent substance. That includes a timer. I'm not going to pronounce that. But we also get another crowbar. We're probably getting close to our encumbrance level with this character. Actually, no, we only have 88 pounds away. So top with the sledgehammer and everything, we'd be pretty full. But if I check this door, here's the thing about this door. The door's locked, and I don't have much lockpicking skill. Can you see the cogs moving in my brain? Let's try something. And once again, when you place this, use it for 10 seconds, and run, 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 run. Run, chosen one. Okay, so it's not exploding prematurely, I don't think. There we go. And the door is now open. So, was that worth exploding to get some loot? Let's see if it was. Is there any cool loot here? I think it just leaves back outside. Yeah, you know what, fine, fair, whatever. We get a quick exit out, whatever. You can go back the long way if you want and keep the dynamite for later or to sell it because it can be worth quite a bit of money. Let's see if we go back to the trapper. Does he actually reward us for taking out the rat god and dealing with their rat problem? It'd be kind of nice if he did. Can I not get back to the side of town? Actually, there is quite a bit here we can explore. We're not on the side of town we need to be. Okay, there's nothing here to loot or anything. What about inside here? Is there any reason to be here? There's a fridge here. Do you have anything? You have Nuka-Cola and beer. That's not bad. Nothing else here? Okay, we might just have to go all the way back. Oh, there's an old broken down highwayman. There actually might be something we can scavenge from this. Maybe this is the reward we get. Ooh, we have gotten a fuel injection system in the back seat. So if you want to get a car eventually in the game, that is something you can explore doing later down the line in some of the next few towns. So there's a fuel cell regulator. Some car owners install this regulator which doubles your car's mileage between charges, but most drivers just don't care how much juice their cars consume after all. Power is cheap and plentiful, so why worry? So it's actually an upgrade for the car where it improves your fuel usage, and we have a bunch of skills to use. What I might do is for this one put up my small gun skill quite a bit, and also I wouldn't mind having more lockpick and maybe increase our speech a little bit just for some of the speech checks coming up. And yeah, I think we're doing alright for our character so far. I think we're doing okay. Now I'm gonna have to go back through that dungeon and go around the long way, but we have 50 health points now. That is quite a bit of health points to have. We're not doing too badly. We're not doing too badly in Fallout 2 today, huh? Okay, so I'm gonna skip forward until we get to the very exit of this dungeon and see if we actually get a reward for taking out the Rat King gods, fella. Now, my man, will you give me any reward for what I just did? Wonder what happened to the rats? I dealt with them. Good riddance to road and rubbish. You know what? You're just a regular Pied Piper, aren't you? Thank you. Well, Piper's in the next fucking few Fallout games. Are you married? Why is he asking me if I'm married? I want this kid to leave me alone. It's making me uncomfortable. Anyway, we don't get a reward, but we got like a pistol and we got a fuel cell regulator for our highwaymen that if we want to repair that in the future, we have an upgrade for that. Oh, kids, go away. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I believe that is a good, proper session for Fallout 2 today. If I was to go on any longer, it would just turn into a playthrough and not a beginner tutorial. So I know when to stop. I know when to have a good length for this video. I don't want it droning on too long. We've gotten our first pistol. We have some proficient pistol skill. We have some nice items to sell. We can actually sell the rest of our stuff to little Bessie over here. Let's see if it's enough actually to get a bit of body armor. And she's restored on some money. Maybe you need to leave the location and wait and come back, and then she restocks on money and equipment. So I want to see if I could buy the leather armor. 2,000 caps. That's a lot of money. How much is the fuel cell regulator worth? Nothing to you. What if I sell all this stuff here? I doubt it's going to add up to 2,000. You can sell the tools. I don't want to sell my spear. I can sell the sledgehammer. Xandaroos, 2 crowbars. Rubber boots aren't going to be worth much. 2 knives. You can have all the food here. Tragic cards. A pipe pistol. A flowered claws we don't need. All my money. It's still not quite enough to get leather armor, but if you are looking for leather armor this close into the game, I don't need anything right now. There is another quest you can pick up here, and there's actually a companion here called Sulik. Now I will leave that exploration up to you because there's a quest you can take with Sulik. You need to talk to Sulik, see what he needs, then talk to Becky, and then pick up another quest to go and save a trapper, and that's another dungeon that you can do. But I will leave all of that exploration up to you, and you do learn a handy skill from that quest where you can skin geckos, and you get a bit of money from that, and I think you'll get enough loot from that to get some body armor and to get you prepared and ready for the next town over, which I believe is called the Den, but worry about that when you get to it. I'm going to stop for now because I believe that's a good place to end off. I don't want to ruin too much of the game. I want to leave the exploration up to you. I hope you have a fun time playing Fallout 2. If you want me to do this for Fallout 1 or Morrowind or Daggerfall or anything else, please let me know. I would love to absolutely do that. Let me know in the comments down below how far you got into Fallout 2, if you kept going with your playthrough, if you did well during the introduction, if you even liked this video or thought the tips were useful, please let me know. I will talk to y'all soon. It's been a pleasure serving you, and have a great day, folks.